got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them, you're willing to hurt for them, but most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting, it's hot. Look what I got, whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast, I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes. I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what is meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited, like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like, when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me, how'd I turn pain into energy. Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
Yesterday, 4 of our teams punched their tickets to the next challenge season. Today, the remaining 8 teams will battle it out for the last 4 remaining spots to continue on in the competition. Who will those last 4 teams be? Well, it's time to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Till a player on top, know it. Rooftop, penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fight through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion. We put in this time. Look, you won't stop.
Welcome to the Snapdragon Pro Series. It's day 2 of our open finals for Call of Duty Mobile, which means we are only 4 matches away from knowing our EU challenge teams. My name is Glitter Explosion. I'm excited to get into the day. And for day 2, we decided to switch it up a little bit on you guys because we now have Proper joining the team with Bobby. Proper, welcome to the show.
It feels really good to be here. You know, COD Mobile always holds a very special place in my heart. I couldn't ask for a better way to spend a Sunday than with you all here.
All right, Bobby, after yesterday, how are you feeling about the competition?
I'm excited to see what the lower bracket has in store. Obviously, we got lots of question marks around the teams that we didn't get to see perform, and we get to start today with an absolute banger as we've got basically a mashup of 2 of the top teams from last European season going up against a team that we had higher expectations for yesterday, didn't quite live up to them. We'll see what they can do today up against some probably equally challenging competition.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good day to close out the region. But chat, the weekend might almost be over, but our challenge season is right around the corner. So make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms, X, Insta, and Facebook, so you can keep up to date on all things Snapdragon Pro Series, as well as joining our Discord, okay? You can head on over to discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series, join the community, hang out with us, get even more updates, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile. Make sure you are in there because you're not going to want to miss a single second of anything. But I know it's day 2. If you missed yesterday or if you've missed any of our previous seasons and you don't know how this whole tournament works, let's talk about it. Bobby, our format expert since last time around, tell him.
Playing with friends. We got stage 3 right here, which is our top 128 teams. That dwindles down to 8. The top 8, we've already got 4 of them. We'll be moving on to the challenge stage of the competition, where they'll be able to battle it out for a few weeks as we dwindle down to the top 4. And I believe for the European region, only 1 will have the opportunity to represent in Masters Finals.
Lots of pressure on these teams, lots on the line in open finals alone. Obviously, those challenge spots, but we had to make it just a little bit sweeter, Proper, because it's not just the challenge season spots. There's cash on the line, too.
Yeah, I mean, 1st through 4th, you can see it right there on your screen. $500 in your pocket to split between you and the team. 5th through 8th can split that $350, obviously, each. 9th through 12th and 13th through 16th get a little small petty along the way, splitting $250 and $150 respectfully. But it's even more than that. You keep hinting at it there, Glitter, is that it's those challenge spots that you're truly after. And honestly, the friends you make along the way.
Hopefully they're making some friends. I mean, it is a tough competition, but a lot of them, after what we saw yesterday, we saw just how many of those rosters were swapped around, so they're going to have to be just a little bit friendly. But we keep talking about yesterday, and if you guys are just joining for day 2, we've got a little bit of a recap. We're going to have the boys kind of hit on some of the highlights from yesterday because we saw quite a few sweeps, Bobby, and obviously lots of recognizable names, but also those roster changes.
Yeah, it was no surprise to see Exclusive coming out on top. Number 2 team in EU, and it surprised a lot of people in our EU playoffs, but the pickups definitely have seemed to pay off as Shark was in his usual dominant form. RM gave him a solid run for their money, I would say, in the Hardpoint, but once it got to the Search and Destroy, it was blown wide open and continued to be the case in the Control. So I'm curious to see what RM can do in the lower bracket. Obviously, a lot of it's just going to be based off what the level of the team that they're going up against is, and to be honest, outside of Omniscient, we don't have a ton of information about the rosters that we're going to be seeing today. So definitely some new players that are going to be looking to make a name for themselves.
And Proper, you got a chance to go back and watch everything, so I definitely want to hear your thoughts on the competition that you saw yesterday.
Well, it almost felt like a DoorDash challenge for a lot of these different matches, didn't it? I mean, like when you end up coming in and you see some hard points, you continuously sit there as like analyst, COD M enthusiast, or just an overall enjoyer of Call of Duty as a whole, and you're just like, oh, surely they're going to be able to get this rotation over towards the next hard point, keep it close, and they get absolutely railed and they just get smoked in the, at least as the scoreline is concerned. I think we had like one close search and destroy yesterday and one close hard point, and they weren't even in the same series. So there's a lot to be desired for a lot of these teams that are knocked down to the lower bracket that are finding themselves in another qualification spot. But I think we got what we asked for yesterday. You know, you had top teams, they stepped up, they had to play the upper bracket qualification match. They did it quite decisively, obviously, with a couple chips on their shoulder along the way, but at least we know that they are still a cut above the rest.
Yeah, no, obviously Kings, the team that we've talked about since last season, doing well and getting that 3-0 on the day yesterday, making sure they solidified their spot through to the challenge. But then this is where things kind of got a little bit interesting, Bobby. We started being able to talk about new teams in the open finals that will be making their way through to the challenge season, and Project X did really well for themselves.
Yeah, no question about it. They showed up when they needed to. I will say there were some concerns for me regarding the search and destroy. A lot of questionable plays that probably could do for some adjustments, but heading down a lower bracket, obviously we got Alb Eagles. If I'm big heading into today, and I know that my opponent is Alb Eagles, I'm not feeling too bad about it. Obviously, due respect to them for making it this far in the competition, but there wasn't really anything outside of the search and destroy that made me feel like they were a team to be feared. So I'm curious to see what kind of talent we got on that roster and what type of competition we'll give them.
Yeah, and then, of course, to close out the day, it was Nexus 3-0ing Illuminati, knocking them down into that lower bracket, which means our entire upper bracket was finished yesterday, and today we're focusing on this lower bracket down there at the bottom. And we saw Omniscient on the bracket. We talked about them a lot yesterday, but we didn't actually get a chance to see them play. Well, now they're our first match on the day going up against Illuminati, and then we'll be able to get to see how the rest of these teams play it out, some of them having kept their competition run alive in that lower bracket, some being knocked down yesterday while we were watching them on stream. But definitely the match of the day has to be this Omniscient versus Illuminati match. They were a team, or Omniscient's a team made up of some of the best teams that we saw, players from the best teams that we saw last season, and they were in that lower bracket. So I think we're all very excited to talk about them here proper. Let's start talking about both these squads. What do you expect out of the matchup here today?
Well, I think that Illuminati have some splaining to do after yesterday. I mean, you get super close in the Arsenal Hardpoint versus Nexus. You get absolutely railed in the firing range search and destroy. Don't even take a single round. And the raid controlled the one round that they won. It was an awkward one, and quite frankly, I would argue that it was a round that could have gone either way. There was some conversations that we had in the digital green room before we actually went live. Gore obviously needs to step up as far as the sniper main is concerned. Didn't really have the outing that he wanted to on firing range. It was all just Mari, if we're being quite candid with ourselves. This team, as far as slaying is concerned, they certainly have it, but their chemistry and understanding where they need to be as far as respawn game modes is certainly lacking.
That's fair. That's fair. And then on the flip side of that, Bobby, they're going up against this Omniscient squad, someone that we've been very excited to talk about. So what are your feelings?
I'm just excited to watch these guys play. I don't know really what to expect for the starting roster because everybody here was phenomenal for their squad in stage 4, especially in the group stages. Obviously, both 117 Not Found and Animus fell flat in the playoffs, but Gathili, I would say especially as a player to keep an eye out for, is somebody who's very, very versatile, an LMG main that typically plays the objective, not something you see too terribly often. Lucky, a phenomenal sniper, just across the board, so much talent on that roster. It's tough to imagine a scenario where they don't make it into the challenge stage.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be really early on in the competition to get an upset against a team like Omniscient. So we'll have to see what they're able to do. considering that they were, though, technically knocked down into that lower bracket. Hopefully today, or yet watching yesterday, gave them a little bit of insight with being able to watch Illuminati's game so that they know what they're going up against here today. But that means match number 1 is almost around the corner. I know we kind of alluded to it, but Proper, how do you think that this will play out prediction-wise?
Well, I mean, it's really tough to gauge. I mean, Bobby kind of slated it up perfectly, right? I mean, we know these players in Omniscient, but we don't know what they're actually going to look like as far as their squad is concerned. But I think they have a really good opportunity to be able to showcase those talents and abilities versus a very trying Illuminati squad. Obviously, with the VOD that we have from them yesterday, it's one of those things that on the Arsenal Hardpoint, that they were certainly lacking behind, getting themselves in better positions, trying to collapse on hardpoints. They won rotation quite a few times, but their operator usage, less to be desired as some of these map picks, bans, and vetoes are all coming through.
Yeah, you're talking about their hard point. Now we get to see what those picks and bans were. Bobby, anything jumping out at you here?
I mean, it looks pretty standard across the board. The one thing that might get a little bit interesting is the Express S&D, is that's a little bit outside the norm for some of these teams. But for the most part, I don't feel like there's any teams that have struggled a ton with their takeoff hardpoint. I'm trying to remember. I believe it was Hacienda that they played between Illuminati and Nexus, or no, it was Arsenal that was
Arsenal,
between
yeah.
those two. So it's definitely a new one in the pool as far as what we've seen between those two. And obviously the firing range is not a great sign for Illuminati given the absolute steamroll that we saw yesterday.
All right, and Proper, your thoughts?
I'm just happy to see the raid control back, right? I mean, you want to talk about just the immediate flip-flop of what you failed to do yesterday and what you have the chance to do today versus a very trying team of Omniscient. I mean, I do like that pick as far as map 3. You just better hope that it's not the map that you need to stay alive in this series, and it better be a swing map mode combination. So the map 1 and 2, quite important for Illuminati.
All right, well, chat, obviously, first match of the day. Let us know your thoughts as well. Who you think is going to be taking home match number 1? Are you on the side of Omniscient, or are you on the side of Illuminati? I think this is going to be a really fun way to kick off the second day of our Open Finals. Don't forget that we've got just these 4 matches, and then that's it for EU, all right? That those teams will be your challenge season teams. Is going to be really exciting to find out which squads they are. So obviously we'll want to know throughout the day who you guys are thinking will be able to take home those spots, because chat sometimes does a really good job with their prediction, and then other times, Bobby, they are just right out of left field.
You know, I've been known to make a wrong prediction or two myself, so I can't say it's something that I'm unfamiliar with. Some would call me cursed. Actually, a reputation that has built since the last time I cast a COD Mobile. So hopefully for Omniscient, that doesn't end up continuing to be the case, because I do feel like this is a super talented team. Last time I predicted that Animus were going to have a solid tournament, they ended up missing stage 5. So the guys for that squad, particularly Gathilia and Narcs, are going to be looking to disprove the curse today as we get on into things right here. It is going to be Illuminati first entry into the hard point turn. Nice shots out of Aether right there. He had a slow day yesterday trying to pick things up, but it is Omniscient. Take it back. Illuminati with that first control on the hard point.
Yeah, I mean, it's P1, right? Nonetheless on takeoff. So it should remain pretty scrappy. There's still 40 seconds obviously left to fight over, but what you're looking for is where Omniscient were previously on the mini-map there. Trying to control those spawns ahead of P2. That's what's going to set you above the rest. We want to see some good fundamentals out of these two teams.
No question about it. Lucky pushing through. He's on a 3 spree already. Going to be able to pick up another. Seems like communication not quite there for Illuminati. That's a 2-piece that should not have been able to happen as easily as it was. Nutty's going to be able to lock down the high ground, though. They do maintain that position for early P1 control, but right now, like you mentioned, spawns toward the back of that stadium building do go the way of Omniscient. They do get 1, make it 2 players rotated toward the top side early on. That is a good sign for them, despite the small gap that we've seen forming, and now you start to see the feed filling up with a whole lot of blue. Good signs for Omniscient at the start of P2 here.
The way the Illuminati is actually setting this up, this is so smart. Split your split spawns and try to find the battles on 2 different fronts. The biggest issue is now you're going in 1 by 1 and you're walking into the absolute blender that is P2 on takeoff. So wonderful first wave of gunfights coming through from Omniscient. They're going to lock down the initial 20.
And I'm not sure where the Illuminati players are, but it looks like not much of a contest here. Finally, 2 players make their way on in, instantly shut down. It's Lucky picking up all 3. Seems like player 2, I believe that's Gore, having some issues, kind of at a standstill at a couple points in this one. Lucky's going to hop out the top side. Might have been nice to earn the pred there. Regardless, it is going to be Omniscient making their way up into the hard point and winning the bulk of gunfights once again. They're looking very, very strong here on P2, and you got to think Illuminati. Time to chalk their losses and head on over toward P3. Nutty's going to do his best to avoid any scraps for Omniscient. And it's going to be Illuminati with the early setup, but you mentioned that they struggled to hold these hard points once they got in position. They'll have an even tougher task today going up against Omniscient.
Luckily enough for Illuminati, at least you're spawning on the backside here at P3. The biggest issue coming forward, you can see a lot of operators already about to be online. So Omniscient, I mean, they have the tools of the trade to try to break this open. You already have at least a bow being brought out from one of the players of Omniscient, trying to find some early damage, maybe to work their way in. But so long as Illuminati can just hold all the way in towards the back, they can break up the monotony potentially of this scoreline. But you can't allow Gatilla just to waltz on in, find a 2-piece for free. That setup just got completely broken up like it was yesterday's news. And that means that if you're Nutty, you got to pull out the Purifier, try to hold on. It will do just that.
Very, very solid fight back for Illuminati right there to keep things even. If they can maintain the rest of this control, should be able to be close to tied up heading over to P4, but obviously they'd like to chain the 2 together if at all possible. Right now, it is going to be beneficial spawns for Omniscient. 1 player spawned in the back. It's Gathilia looking to contest, but hardly worth the scraps right here as 1 player's already on rotation for Illuminati. That's going to be Nutty. He's shut down, and right now Omniscient looking to bounce back off of a slow P2, or rather P3, but Narks over on Old, able to find 2, makes his way up to high ground to find some information as well. Aether makes his way on in, and spawns have been controlled for Illuminati, so they'll be on the close side right here, and just like that, Omniscient have been completely broken.
Saturn spawned out. You got to be able to read where Saturn is coming from. Already found 1 for Gore there. That's happening off screen as we have a beautiful view here of P4. Slides on in, finds yet another one, but that could be the damage that is required. You already talked about how Illuminati were able to at least string it together towards the end of P3, get inside of P4. That's why the scoreline is just so damn close. But this back 20 seconds is going to be the difference maker who's going to have a lead at the end of the first set.
Pretty tight all the way through so far. Illuminati much closer in this matchup than I expected them to be. Right now, Gathilia, actually Lucky's going to be able to do the work. He has been an absolute beast on the map for this Omniscient squad. 19 kills on the board, and it looks like we're heading on back to P1 right here. Gore looking to lock down the low ground, and they've got those spawns towards Stadium. Nobody playing for the high ground control, but right now, they do get players in position to lock in some big time. Mari's going to be able to find 1 crucial player for Illuminati yesterday. Even with that happening, Omniscient going to be there to contest.
Yeah, you can already see just some of the kills just racking all the way through. Lucky's up to 20 right now. Mari's answering it back on the other side up to 21. Gore's having a much better time here today than at least what was witnessed in the first set of Hardpoints yesterday on Arsenal versus Nexus, up to 19 kills. P1. Very scrappy coming in towards the second set. It's a marginal lead that Omniscient currently hold, but they know that they can just continue to layer on the pressure, keep tiptoeing around this P1, try to send a couple players around this 20-second mark, which is right around the corner, and maybe try to get inside P2. But Illuminati are playing for the future. They want to make sure that they at least send players in towards the back, anchor out the spawns. They know how important P2 can be.
And Lucky's looking to flip right here. Big time gunfights for him, but he gets shut down by Mari. Saturn's trying to hold back the push from Illuminati. Only scraps left to be gained right here. And that's a nice 3-piece for Omniscient. They're already up 30, and they do take Stadium control early right here. Gore's not going to be able to connect to finish off balance right there. He's going to go ahead and reach out. They've got the read on these spawns. Some operators not going to pop right there. It's actually Gore with the UL able to tear through 2. And now it's Lucky in the top side, Sparrow in hand, trying to hold back that Illuminati push. Nutty, nice flank right here, might be able to take down a couple, but it's not going to be enough to flip spawns. So right now, Omniscient still in control of that strong side, and Illuminati not showing much hope of finding a flip here.
Full 60 almost there in the first set of rotations, and you're just about staring down the barrel for another one, as well as Gore and Mari able to work their way back in. But look at the response for Omniscient. On the previous push, it was going to be a War Machine from Saturns. This time it is going to be an Annihilator from Gutilla, and they are absolutely popping off in the kill feed. And just in a moment's notice, flipping spawns at the wrong time. If you're looking at this from Illuminati's perspective, they are trailing by just about 50 points. If you're Omniscient, you're probably just going to chalk the rest of this time. Maybe try to keep them trapped over here for another wave of respawns, because you have a free rotation to new.
And Lucky's been on an absolute tear this entire map. Seems like every time I look in the feed, he's getting a triple kill. 33 kills on the board as Omniscient extend that lead. Now out to 155. Balance gonna pop the Purifier as they head on over toward P2, trying to lock down the top side. Gets the shutdown onto Aether. Nobody in position to contest right here. Gone's gonna try his best, but he's gonna be met with flames to the face. One more for Balance to deal with. He shuts down another, and it has been a perfect hold off of a perfect rotation from Omniscient. Obviously, that spawn flip could not have been more poorly timed for Illuminati.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in Illuminati now, I mean, they are, the world's in their hands, isn't it? I mean, they're getting these close spawns inside of P3. They have to just brute force their way back in. They want to try to save some of these operators, Bobby, ahead of P4. It was really good for them the last time around. But again, they're trapped. This spawn trap is just absolutely electric. Finally, the break comes through. And that's just because Omniscient finally decided we're done setting reinforcements. We got a 70-point lead. We'll head back over towards P4 and try to lock things down ahead of the rotation.
And we'll see if the utility investment pays off for Illuminati. Like you said, 4 operators charged up and ready to go. They're trying to find a full 60. That would get them right back into this one. It's just going to be a question of the pacing more than likely. Gathilia going to drop a Pred. Lucky's going to pop his Sparrow at the same time, doing their best to counter the opposite side. And one of the operators for Illuminati already shut down. Narcs is not leaving that top side position anytime soon. Aether just trying to contest for as long as he can. Teammates gonna be able to find a couple of kills, and Mari pops the Annihilator. That could be the damage they need. One more to be dealt with, but Omniscient go big. 4 kills in the feed, and all the operators have been wiped off the page.
You just have Gore is the only one that has one left, right? I mean, you had the Annihilator come through. The War Machine maybe got one grenade to come out of its barrel, and then immediately just got ripped asunder. Omniscient in the second set of Hardpoints rectify the issues that kept the Hardpoint close within the first set. They have themselves a commanding lead, almost 100 points strong. Saturns is feeling it for the back end of this 10 seconds here on P4 before we go into a third and final set of Hardpoints here in the takeoff map number 1. War Machine might just be the cherry on top as Omniscient are in the driver's seat.
And Gathilia just tearing across the map. Reads the spawn on that one. Not going to have an angle. Balance gets the information, and he's going to be able to do some damage there as Gathilia picks up the kills. Hunter Killers going out. It's utility raining down from above for Omniscient as they have torn this one wide open. What was a tie game through the first set of rotations has been all Omniscient the entire way through the second time. Only 7 more points needed. Gore's going to pop his claw, doing his best to keep the map alive, but you're down by 110 points. So little margin for error. It is going to take completely perfect Hardpoint for them to have any type of a chance in this.
Yeah, I mean, flawless is just maybe a 7-second shy, isn't it here, brother? I mean, you're able to at least get yourself inside P1, but what's been the continuation? The biggest issue for Illuminati, they have to somehow get the spawns and hold for P2.
Yeah, it's not looking good right now. Gathilia trying to end things right here. Not going to be able to do so. They're going to go ahead, chalk their losses. 3 players already set up in the top of P2. It looks like this one is likely done and dusted, barring a miracle. Good shots out of Gore to take down the Purifier, but still reinforcements are there, close spawns, and more operators, but the Sparrow and Gone's actually going to be able to take out the Sparrow in the hands of Lucky. Remaining contested right here. Illuminati doing everything in their power to stay alive in this one, and they win all the gunfights. They don't have the close spawns, but they're still not able to pick up any hardpoint time off of it. Finally, it looks like they'll have a moment to breathe right here as Nutty and Gone single-handedly keeping their team alive on the objective, and somehow they're still going.
Are you serious right now, Illuminati? Can you play this flawless so far? They have close spawns and towards the back. Omniscient are still setting numbers in, and the numbers just too much to bear. I mean, that P2 was the closest out of the three that we saw for all the wrong reasons there, Bobby, but at least Illuminati start to fight back. Very close within the first set, but you felt like when you have that leader's advantage that Omniscient built at the end of the second set, it was just a matter of time before they closed out that map number 1.
Yeah, that was as chaotic of a hard point as you're going to see. And it seemed like Omniscient were just so tunnel vision on finishing the map that they didn't throw any different looks. They just one by one single filed up the stairs, and every single time Illuminati were ready for it. But across the map, no question, Omniscient played it much more cleanly. You got to attribute a lot of their success to Lucky and just how difficult he was to kill. Triple after triple. He was tearing up the map. Balance, obviously, on a mission here for this Omniscient roster. Something to prove is he did get dropped from that Stage 5 roster in exclusive, and definitely, I think, felt slighted in that. So he's doing his best to prove that he deserves a spot on one of these top teams. But huge credit to Omniscient, just consistent across the map and a beauty of a second set of rotations across those hard points.
Absolutely. You know, when we talk about the hodgepodge group of individuals, and we'll talk more about here all that in a second, as we got some wonderful stats to show you. Lucky with the 50 bomb, sure, plus 20, why not? Go off, young man. 42 and 33 there for Gatilla. It's everything that you want to see coming through from this Omniscient roster, right? The slaying, the understanding where they need to be on the map. It's everything that Illuminati were absolutely missing yesterday in that Arsenal hardpoint in a very close affair. And then that was a continuation here as far as this takeoff map number 1 is concerned, right? You had so many different split spawns coming through. They were trying to set up pinches to be able to break inside of P2, break inside of P3 for the second set, and they couldn't find value with it. The difference is that Omniscient were reading the split spawns. They were allocating a lot of their different gunnies and operators to be able to respond when those split spawns were starting to come through, respond to be able to find those trades when it was required. That is the biggest difference as far as fundamentals are concerned between these two teams as far as Hardpoint is concerned.
And it's not a great sign for Illuminati because that hardpoint felt like a must-win map when you look at the fact that going into map number 2, you've got the firing range that you just got 7-0'd on yesterday. You got some players that have got to step up in a big way, and especially when you're going up against a player like Lucky, who has been incredibly dominant with a sniper, and your main sniper in Gore just did not put up the numbers to keep up yesterday. He's got to have a different map if they're going to have any type of a chance at staying in this one. I don't think realistically you can bank on the search and destroy carrying you through, and you got to find a way to take at least one of those if you're going to be able to extend the series.
I mean, look, let's be candid. Yesterday versus Nexus on firing range, it was literally just that. But not for Illuminati. Bobby, they didn't take a single round, so they got absolutely smoked out of that map number 2. You better hope that because you didn't veto firing range coming into this versus a very daring Omniscient roster that you have every single bag of tricks. Your snipes are on point. Obviously, we saw Mari stepping up to that cause yesterday. We already talked about it a handful of times that Gore needs to be able to be that secondary snipe if that's going to be the flavor here for the firing range. But it even goes beyond that, too. There were so many different rounds yesterday versus Nexus. They were getting themselves inside a tin on offense. They were getting themselves around wood. And then they just sat there. It seemed like that they were just terrified to try to take space and maybe try to send a player through the middle of the map, yoink that space away from Americas. And then by the time that they were so hesitant on even trying to get the bomb planted, the flanks were coming through. The aggression for Nexus was at an all-time high. I can only imagine that Omniscient are going to be looking to exploit the same exact thing.
Yeah, and they definitely have a lot of players that do have a similar play style, and that's just been the European search and destroy play style in general. Is throw your utility at a bomb site, hope that it sticks, and see what you can work with it. We definitely saw a lot of unusual looks from Nexus yesterday that I would imagine Illuminati were not prepared for, and it might be that there's some players on this Omniscient roster that maybe aren't quite as comfortable with them not having been together as long, but as far as talent goes, there's no questioning that they've got what it takes to put together a roster that should be able to have some level of dominance in search and destroy as well. So it's going to be a tough task for Illuminati. You got 2 maps up ahead that you lost just yesterday, and in not a very strong fashion. So hopefully they did lots of voting to see where things went wrong and hopefully correct on those mistakes.
Oh, yeah, you better hope so, because, I mean, again, this Omniscient roster, just to give them further flowers, I know we all talked about it, or you all talked about it yesterday. I mean, you already talked about Balance, who was dropped from that second-place exclusive squad. I mean, you got Narix, Utila. They got 4th last season on Animus, and then Lucky and Saturn's 3rd last season on 117 Not Found. So, I mean, you have a championship-caliber team that was formulated from a top 4 placement just last season. So you know the competition is going to be tough if you're looking at this from Illuminati, and it literally comes down to all of that plus a bag of chips. You have to be able to have all that VOD review. If there's any coaching staff behind the scenes as well to be able to keep these guys in check, to understand that these strategies need to be executed to a fine tee, you just can't afford to get checked, because this is a roster of Omniscient that have been towards the top. They will absolutely eat you alive. We'll have to see how it all pans out here on the map number 2.
All right. We are underway here in the firing range. Search and destroy. And it is going to be Omniscient on the offensive side to get things started. Once again, seeing that aggressive mid push. Lucky's going to open things up with a snipe onto Aether, and Balance goes completely unchecked. Tears through 2 players, trying to make it a 3rd. There's one on the inside, but Gathelia is going to be able to drop him before he has a shot at it. 1 player left alive. Mari was the only glimmer of hope for this Illuminati squad yesterday in the S&D, and it looks to be the case once again as he finds 1, but not going to be able to find anything more than that, as Omniscient quickly take round 1.
You know, I've been in Call of Duty for quite some time here, Bobby, and you know, you talk about European search and destroy. It's just Call of Duty at a whole. If you know you got the better gunny, you know that you're gonna shake them in their boots. You got the better gunny, just run on them. Sure, why not? Need a response here. If you are Illuminati defensively, you do at least have Aether up close. Needs to go 1 for 1. Does just that.
All right, Gore already picked up more kills than he had in the entire search and destroy yesterday. That's going to be 3 in a row for him right there. Nutty's going to be able to find another, and all down to Lucky as he's trying to do the impossible, but Mari drops him, and just like that, Illuminati bounce back, and Gore's presence right there, definitely something they're looking for to give themselves a shot here in this map number 2.
That was the required response. Answer aggression with aggression. You get Gore in the position to be able to overwatch these SMG players. It works out quite wonderfully. You need a little bit more of that. Narc says, nah, not going to have it this time around. First blood on the Gore immediately.
Yep, crucial to take him down, because he's one of those players that once they get hot, very difficult to stop. Aether has played the backside of that wood wall every single time so far, all 3 rounds. Curious to see if we maybe get a different look out of him, as it's become very, very predictable. No trophies in play, so that nade's actually going to connect right there. But Balance reads it to perfection. Can't hit a shot. Not the prettiest spray I've ever seen, but does end up picking it up. And fortunately for him, Narc's going to have his back to pick up another. Lucky will be there to deal the final damage, and Omniscient take the lead here in map 2.
That's the biggest issue, isn't it? I mean, you get an SMG in and around 10 like that. I mean, albeit just a little bit windy out there in the firing range, be able to find at least that second. You're still able to lock down the bomb site. That's the trust that you're going to have for Omniscient as they take that 1-round lead. Offensive push for Omniscient. Nobody was surprised. Going to get Balance up close and personal over by this AS&D just outside of 10. 3 players strong here defensively, though, Bobby.
And nobody's watching mid. I don't know what the game plan is. They do manage to trade out right there, but somebody has got to check Balance right there, as he's been able to run completely uncontested through the mid map every single time. They go 1 for 1 right there. Saturn's in a cheeky spot, looking through the grass, able to drop gone, and just like that, the B site, only 1 player remaining. Sniper in hand. We won't have the angle on that gunfight quite yet. And Saturn's getting busy in the mid-map as he's going to be able to take down Nutty. Mari doing some damage for Illuminati to keep the lives fairly even. But now down 1. The bomb is going to get picked up right here, as Omniscient players are going to be able to take the B site.
They have so much time, though, Bobby. They can rotate out off of this, but they're actually making the call just to rotate back over and just reinforce around this B bomb site. Narcs goes wide, and he's able to combine that to find the second kill alongside his teammate. But I mean, the play as far as that round starts and stops, you are absolutely right there, my friend. You just cannot allow middle of the map just to be wide open like that. Balance is going to continuously exploit a lot of these different angles of opportunity, and this time around they do send Nutty at least to look at the middle of the map, but it is smoked off, so the push is coming through.
And Balance completely counters by making his way through trailer right there. Smokes one player, takes down the trophy, and going to be able to get information through that sandbag side as well. He continues to get aggressive right there, gets a little bit of information, doesn't want the gunfight, backs up, and is going to let the snipers hold those long angles for him. Holding down the long corners, Lucky, but he's not able to connect onto Nutty, and that's a big opener right there. 2 players already down for Omniscient. Risky play through the mid map to EUR across mid. Balance going to be able to make him pay, and just like that, 2 players remain to defend for Illuminati.
Oh my God. Yeah, sure. Why not? You know, there's a couple things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Balance finding a timing through the middle of the map. My God. It's egregious at this point. Like, you have to try to lock down the sites. You can't just put all of your numbers looking at the same angle. You got to try to finesse your life a little bit more if you are Illuminati, because Balance is absolutely eating you alive. It's up to 10 kills through 5 rounds, for crying out loud.
Every move for Illuminati this far has just been reactionary based on what Omniscient's doing, rather than dictating the pace of the game on their own end, and it has definitely not worked out for them so far. Saturn's going to be able to get into Cubby, pick up one, and get away with his life, and time again, Illuminati are failing to find those first bloods, and Omniscient put them in these difficult positions where they're able to do whatever they want, and Illuminati just simply have not had an answer. They make their way onto the bomb site. Aether still looking to pick up his first kill. Same for Gone. At this stage of the competition, you cannot have 2 players 5-6 rounds in, sitting on goose eggs, and just like that, 2 more drop. Gone gonna get sniffed out right here. 100% the information is there, and Saturn's gonna pick up yet another frag as we get ready to flip sides right here. And Illuminati desperately need to change the pace.
I mean, so let's do a recap of the past 6 rounds. The one round that Illuminati took was the round that they dictated the pace, as you were talking about, through 10. We're able to get in their face, but Omniscient are just... it's just clinical, isn't it? Now the side swap comes through for Illuminati. This was a struggle city for them yesterday. They take coverage over inside of 10 very early, and they find the trades, currently have the numbers around the bomb site.
Ooh, and Gore gets information right there. Big pick onto Balance. He's been a nightmare for your squad all game long. Aether, Gone, still alive, still looking for those first frags, and 2 players remain for Omniscient right here. On the defensive side, looking for an angle. Lucky's not going to be able to find it. Saturn's drops, and now going to be forced to Ego Chal over that bomb heady. Nobody peeking from the backside either. Aether, clinical right there. Plays with what the map's going to give him, and Illuminati finally find another round.
Yeah, I mean, a big one. You definitely wanted to take that offense. Obviously, the difference in between Omniscient being up on map point and potentially going up 2-0 in the series. Gone still sitting on a goose egg. What's the response going to be out here from Omniscient? It's a forward approach, but look, 5 players strong from Illuminati. They want this A-bomb site, Bobby.
Oh my gosh, they're going psycho at it as well. The one thing you got to be worried about is watching the flank, and it looks like they will send 1 player back. That's going to be Mare. They go 1 for 1, make it 2 for 1 on the inside of trailer, and Gone finally hops off the goose egg right there. Gore's starting to cook, and signs of life right here for Illuminati as Gone's getting going. 0 through the first 7 rounds, and just like that, he picks up 3, all down to Narcs, and he gets smoked off the heady by Gore. And Illuminati may very well be back in this one.
I feel like a proud father watching this Illuminati squad on offense, on firing range, compared to what they look like yesterday. I mean, they already called it. You said it. You had to watch the flank. They do just that. Players around 10 looking for the trades. My God, Gone was on a goose egg. Now he's up to 3. Lucky's difference this time around is going to snipe through mid, finds first blood, immediately answered back 4v4.
Huge frag, but Mari's going to be able to pick one up onto Balance once again. And when he hasn't had the opportunity to get aggressive and take this Illuminati squad off guard, he has not had nearly as much of an impact. Shotgun on the inside of trailer connects for Saturns, but still it's Illuminati getting the better of the trades. As I say it, nade lands for Lucky. Gathilia gonna disengage, but Deagle shots through wood right there.
Sure.
Will connect and leaves Lucky all alone. Bomb in hand for Gone. Right now, Lucky gonna need to make a read. It seems like he might have timing onto the backside of bathrooms, but he's gonna give away information. This should be a guaranteed round for Illuminati once again. Oh no, I thought he was gonna get executed.
I mean, you know, I wish he did, honestly. Like, let's have some fun out here, guys. Come on. But yeah, I mean, that's
a momentum builder, you know?
It really is. Yeah, you want to talk about winning a search and destroy, get in their heads rent-free, go for the assassination. Why not? But I love this response coming through. Mari's now up to 10 kills. Gore up to 9. They are dictating the pace. And how about a little bit of a flip of a switch? Saturn's has a lot to do, but the nade coming through from Balance just completely breaks up the monotony. Finds 2. The SMG from Balance even better. Now with the 2v5 on the map, that B push has completely just gone to rest.
Oh, wow. Things fall apart quickly for Illuminati right there.
I'll say.
As the double kill from the nade just completely opened things up, and with Balance once again getting aggressive is what's getting him these opportunities to make a big impact. So I'm anticipating we'll see a similar approach right here, but this time going to sit back once again. 2 players make it 3 here to defend on A, and it could pay off as they get 2 kills off the start. Make it 3, make it 4, and Omniscient want to shut this one down ASAP.
You thought you had the bomb site. You walked into the Omniscient blender, Illuminati. We'll be seeing you. Oh my God. That was disgusting. I mean, they knew that the V push was immediately put to rest. They found the double kill on the round previous to that. They had players inside of wood. Nobody was spotted over at A. So they didn't get to see the double stack that was already set up in the round previously, the one that just won the game. So Illuminati were just like, all right, B push. Nah, we're not doing that no more. Let's go back over to A. And then they walked into the answer that Omniscient needed for Illuminati's aggression around the A bomb site. It's the double stack, Bobby, the body stack around 10. It works out so wonderfully. What an emphatic ending. I thought Illuminati really had the momentum back in their side. Just simply not the case. Omniscient just needed a couple rounds to get the reads and understand what they were going up against to put this map 2 to rest.
And you got to think Balance is feeling pretty vindicated after that map. 17 kills on the board for him. He was absolutely running Illuminati. They did not have an answer for him. So many of those rounds just getting aggressive, playing the smoke so well, and catching them off guard, even with a sniper finding that final frag. That's about as strong of a map as you can expect to see in Call of Duty Mobile. Unfortunately for Illuminati, Gore finally steps up, but Ether, the other player that struggled yesterday, continued to find a lack of success as he goes 1-9 right there. I believe that's a combined 2-16 between the two S&Ds, and he's definitely been the player that has lacked the most for this Illuminati squad.
It's just a little bit of hesitation, isn't it? I mean, Aether was in such good positions there defensively while Omniscient were taking the bomb site there at A. Yeah, you didn't have numbers, but that doesn't mean you have to lose your confidence. If you're Aether, like, swing, challenge. You have an SMG for crying out loud. Smoke somebody, play your life, get back inside a team, bait out the next gunfight. This is a Call of Duty fundamentals for crying out loud, Bobby. I'm losing my mind. But nonetheless, it's just what Omniscient are able to do. Again, you know, we continuously sing the praise about all the teams that they were on in the previous season and what makes a conglomerate of a team. Y'all already said it yesterday, and we reprised it today, is that this is a team that, quite frankly, to play through the lower bracket is a little bit of a ha-ha, considering how good of a team they actually are. A lot of those fundamentals obviously showcased in the Hardpoint. Maybe some considerations as far as what they're rolling out for and the answers. We know that balance is it's going to be absolutely insane. That was an immediate response as far as map number 2 is concerned. But the responsiveness coming through from the aggression that Illuminati threw back at them as well. This is, in my opinion, a formation of a championship caliber team out of Omniscient.
Yeah, no question about it. I would expect bare minimum for them to be top 3 in Europe, and I think they're capable of doing better than that. It's just a question of how things gel, and I think even through the dominance that we've seen so far, there's things you can point to and say this player might need to improve. I think it was a rough map for Gathilia as he was 3-7, especially given the way they return through things. Not something that you love to see, but all the players are going to have their ups and downs. And once you get everybody firing on all cylinders, it's going to be tough to stop this squad. I'm very interested to see what they're going to be able to do against the likes of Kings, against the likes of Exclusive, as obviously those have been the 2 top dogs in Europe. But you look at the talent on this roster, and I think if you had thrown this roster together and say, can these guys beat Exclusive at the end of group stage in the EU, I would say absolutely. So a lot of it just comes down to how people are able to perform when it matters most. And obviously it's not a series over quite yet, but this roster just looks super well put together.
Oh, absolutely. Polished, squeaky clean. I mean, maybe there's like one corner that might have like a little cobweb in it. We'll talk more about that later. I'm sure that somebody's going to have to go clean that sucker out because we still have to see control out of this team. Again, yesterday, their one match that they played absolutely smoke showed in that 3-0. Who's to say that it might not happen here again, a little borrowing some rounds there in the search and destroy and at the end of the takeoff hardpoint. But raid control, you feel like you got to have a good one in your back pocket. It was 1-3 yesterday that they lost to Nexus for Illuminati. Let's see what Omniscient have to offer here on the map number 3.
All right, we're underway right here. It's going to be Saturn's getting aggressive, getting pushed up right here. He's looking to take some laundry control. Balance going to take himself out. Not entirely sure how that happens. Maybe a bit of a Bobby nade, but Omniscient make their way onto the objective regardless. And right now, Gathelia watching that window. Seeing it on an SMG feels odd, but he's definitely not had an issue with it as he's going to be able to pick up at least one off the start right there. And now you get Saturn's pushed up with a sniper in hand at that laundry heady. And this is an absolute nightmare for Illuminati, desperately trying to make their way out. They have no options to push toward that top side, and that is as fast of a VCAP as you will see.
Talk it, rotate, get some kitchen control. The biggest issue is that you're still spawning around basketball court, but look at Narc's position. He's already inside the pool. Great pickup there by Nutty to be able to recognize we got to get past Tiki. We got to get some map control for crying out loud, because the biggest struggle when it comes down to raid control and COD Mobile, you just don't want to get absolutely snowballed after that B zone was already captured. Lives are marginalized, just two difference in between these two teams, but trade's still coming across the board. The biggest issue coming through from Omniscient is that they want to see form control around this A bombs or this A control site, excuse me. They got to win the next 2 wave of gunfights.
Oh, big gunny for Saturn's able to pick one, goes untraded and finds another on the inside of Tiki. Mari there for the trade. Gathelia not gonna read, but wow, the flashbang saves his life right there. Gore's gonna be there for the trade, and it looks like they come out on the better side for Illuminati. Right now, Omniscient's scrambling, and they've got to slow the pace of this one. They've still got 1 minute and 10 seconds. Fortunately for them, Mari's going to be able to pick 2, and one more is found on the inside of Tiki for balance. That should be the opening, but they continue to scramble, and they need to take their time with these gunnies, because these can be costly the more that you lose.
They knew they were missing one player. That was Nutty. He pushed all the way inside of Art and immediately just gunned over by the open staircase. But so long as you have players around Tiki, you feel like you got a chance. Aether is able to at least find Saturn's around that Tiki bar. Slides on forward with the pistol. Sure, why not? Looking for a little bit more. We'll get it in the end. That's insane. Now you're down to a 2v4. Can Omniscient pull this back?
Wow, rough spot for them, given the dominance we saw over on that B side. But Bone's going to be able to find 2. And Illuminati come out, guns blazing right there. Fantastic adjustment to get some map control over toward that A side. And Omniscient were just not able to make the reads. I felt like they got way too aggressive over there rather than trying to play through mid-map to find some more control before looking for that push. And they gave away so many lives in the process.
Control is so break-off dependent. They lost that B zone just so fast. What's the response going to be like here? Again, you want it to go so well, and it is a flawless breakup. Are you kidding me? Illuminati, where has this been the entire series? First zone is already got a tick of progress locked in. Omniscient need to be a little patient on how they try to recontest this.
Aether had 1 kill in the search and destroy and is already on a 6 spree here in search and destroy, in control. It feels like I'm watching a completely different player, and this time it's Illuminati pushing up for that top side laundry spawn trap. Nobody gonna push through as Omniscient, licking their wounds right back toward the A side, but they continue to get picked right here as Gathelia finally gonna be able to find a trade. Go, nice pre-fire, but it's not gonna be enough as Gathelia picks 2, and finally a little bit of fight out of Omniscient following a very sluggish start.
Oh yeah, I mean that is just as perfect as you could possibly draw it up for Illuminati. I mean, I was talking about break-off dependent. Illuminati were just like, don't worry, proper, we got you. They got a 6, now 5 life lead, looking for further map control. And just look at the way the Omniscient are actually spread across the map. Balance is all the way inside of the garage. He's spawn killing Nutty. That's rude. But while this is all happening, Illuminati have almost flipped the map back on its head. You got a lot of players just trying to push around laundry, and look at Gore. He has to come back to try to help out Nutty because Balance has now killed Nutty off spawn 3 times.
I think they're trying to delay the spawns as long as they possibly can, and he gets another right there. His teammates keep losing the gunfights, and he finally gets taken down only off of a vehicle explosion. But Omniscient can't seem to find the gunfights anywhere else on the map. And very interestingly enough, both teams have saved up every one of their operators and have not used them. Gathilia gets immediately smoked off of his Annihilator. Nutty's going to call in the Purifier, and now they're going to full send everything right here as Nutty picks up 2, and that should be enough to seal it. If I'm Omniscient, I'm just saving the rest of these for the next round because this one is completely chalked. You got 3 lives left to 15 for Illuminati, and these guys seem to have completely flipped a switch.
You want it to end by kills, though, is the biggest thing if it ends up going towards that round number 5, but it is almost inevitable at this point. Going to be a 2-0 lead in the map number 3 for Illuminati, barring some crazy heroics to come all the way through. First segment of progression has already been locked in. I got balance, Philip. Last 2 players alive versus the 12 of Illuminati, including their respawns. And I'm not too sure if you can even find your way back in. They're just going to chalk it. They're going to allow it to go through the segment progression, which would almost argue that Omniscient will probably, if it does go to round 5, are going to be back on offense. But just to talk about some proficiency, I mean, you did pull out the Purifier. I don't mind that at all. But, I mean, you almost wanted to save that Predator missile. You had that round in the bag. Nonetheless, it's neither here nor there. It's a 2-0 lead for Illuminati. They look great on this map number 3, Bobby.
And I'm expecting to see Omniscient pull out some of these operators early to try to fight for some map control, and that's what they're going to do. Balance is going to be able to pick up 2, Purifier in hand. He secures Kitchen. And right now, waiting for the reinforcements as they push up to red. Gathilia and Saturns do the damage for that gunfight. Right now, still trying to get somebody onto the objective, and Balance should be able to push through for another right here. Now making his way up toward Laundry, and it looks like they get the information, but only 1 player left there, and Gathilia has pushed all the way toward spawn. No communication for Illuminati as he's running willy-nilly. Double kill for free, why not? 1 player on the inside of basketball court, but Lucky seems to have the information. Not going to be able to win the gunny.
Second segment looking pretty darn good to be locked in. Just going to be leaving Saturns behind while you have Balance going back to do Balance things. Swings a little bit wide, will lose their life. But that B zone, it looks to be chalk, not unless Mari has anything to say about it. It does have a sniper around Laundry to maybe try to recontest this, but the timing's going to be tight. Predator missile's going to get called in for Balance, trying to at least open up this A zone before B actually gets fully captured, and it sure will. Add some time on towards the board. Lives not too far gone for Illuminati on this defense.
Yeah, very even so far, and to be honest, it was whenever you get 1 objective captured for Omniscient that they really started to struggle, and it was that B objective that they captured pretty flawlessly but couldn't make any progress over toward A. We'll see if we find a different approach right here. Still plenty of time to work with. Saturn's going to be able to find 1. Gone drops there as well, and now the feed turns yellow as they send some utility over the top. Beautiful jump shot out of Saturn's, and just like that, it should be a fairly open A objective, and with the life lead the way that it is, this should be at least 1 tick of progression, if not more, for Illuminati. Spawn traps starting to go through. Balance is going to unpeak right there. He's going to be in position to continue to contest. Although the nade goes across up top, he somehow stays alive. And only 5 lives here to contest. Omniscient have finally fought back and found a way to take a round as 12v4 and no map control. The round looks a little hopeless for Illuminati.
Yeah, I mean, it is all gone and fallen by the wayside. I mean, you got 1 player inside of money, sure, maybe you could try to contest, but it's just not going to be there, not soon enough. The one saving grace that Illuminati almost had to try to retake that was going to be Nutty. He got a really good spawn, and he started pushing through the middle of the map uncontested through Zig, and he started pushing through the water stairs, but the biggest issue is the same thing that we were talking about. When Omniscient have control of an area, much like in that map number 1 for Hardpoint, they're reading the flanks, they're getting good timings, they finally get themselves on the board, making this map number 3 interesting.
All right, Narc's getting aggressive, outskirts of Ring right there, going to be able to find 2, and Gathilia at the same time finds 2 with the Annihilator. That's a 2-6 opening right there, and a perfect break for this Omniscient squad as it looks like finally Illuminati fight back 3 in the feed. Nobody on the objective quite yet for Illuminati, and Balance is going to get traded right there. Lucky can't find a way through that gunfight either, and a lot of these that it seems like Omniscient should have the advantage, just not capitalizing. Goodillia is going to get spotted top statue, but does not get taken down. But there'll only be one man left standing there as Narc's going to drop, and that should be an open B site.
A big difference as far as that opening rip is concerned, where Illuminati were able to full cap it just with a 6-life lead, going almost completely flawless in their previous offense. A little bit more patience from ARs around Laundry for Omniscient, just waiting for the challenges to come through ring, and they're able just to find some good team shots and at least keep lives just about even, and also sending players through mid to maybe try to pinch through Art was a fantastic rollout and a great decision off of their previous fumble on the last defense from Omniscient. That B zone's going to get captured. That is inevitable, but Omniscient need to be careful. They're giving up a lot of lives along this transition. Gon's already found himself inside of Kitchen, is going to be playing inside of Money, waiting for the rest of his team. The biggest issue is that Omniscient do have players around Art. They have them in around bottom bed, so the pinch is already set up, but Illuminati just aren't winning the gunfights anymore up front.
Yep. Once again, that kitchen control has been completely cleared for Omniscient. So for now, it's going to be a tough task for Illuminati to make the wrap on through. Mari's going to find one to try to open things up, but Balance once again getting aggressive to try to push back those spawns. 3 in the feed for Omniscient right there. They retake the life lead, and they'll single file through the bottom of Modern once again. Balance picking up the sniper, should be in position. Not going to find an angle, or rather not have the timing to have the right weapon right there, and Mari shuts him down. Illuminati fighting back, but they've got to go big on these gunnies.
Yeah, they sure do. Goodillia is still looking for that timing. 45 seconds, 6v7. You feel like that this is going to be the last possible push. Illuminati want to take this offense into map number 3 to boot.
Yeah, you do not want to go to round number 5. Big gunfights go the way of go the way of Omniscient. 4v3 right here. Sniper comes out for Lucky. Every life counts at this point. Gore on the backside. Nade's not going to drop on his head, but just by a couple of inches. And right now, it's going to be basketball completely locked down, and they need a sniper pick out of Mari to open this up. They're not offering up anything with only 17 seconds left. Balance is going to peek through. Drop score right there. All down to Mari. Sniper on a heady, but not a whole lot of time to work with. And Omniscient take back-to-back rounds to force a round 5.
And I'm pretty sure with those kills alone, that should actually be Omniscient to be able to get defense, maybe? No, they didn't get enough. The kill disparity just a little bit too far gone, so it's going to be at least a round 5 offense coming through for Omniscient. But, hey, you're able to win the last offense quite decisively, in my opinion, bringing things down to the absolute wire. Just got to be careful if you are Illuminati. You find yourself in these situations where the flanks are just such an easy read, but Omniscient keep exploiting it quite wonderfully. And talk about a good rollout right there for both teams, quite candidly. But the difference is that Lucky found his way with an SMG in hand all the way inside a kitchen. Sure, the B push doesn't come through, but now you're spawning parallel over towards A, and you can start benefiting off of Lucky's opening push.
Oh, and they're getting crazy aggressive right here. Balance has just been the king of kitchen for this entire map. Nobody's wanted to challenge him. They're going to get players onto A early. This is the objective that they've had the most trouble with. And Saturn's winning that gunfight. Completely clears off basketball court. Balance gets pushed out on the top side once again, and even when he's not on the objective, he has been so difficult to deal with. Goodillia gonna pop the Annihilator and gets dropped immediately once again. That's one of the downsides that we've seen out of this Omniscient squad. Some of the operators haven't found much value. That hasn't been the case for Balance, though. The Purifier absolutely lethal. Saturn shuts down one more, and A has now been completely captured as score streaks have been earned as well.
Pred missile coming in for Balance as well. It's actually a 3-for-1 trade off the said Pred missile. So Illuminati, I mean, they at least have some map control specifically for Nutty. He's already passed Rocks, trying to get himself inside of Art, but I mean, he has a wave of force coming through inside of Art and can't even go 1-for-1. A 3-wave of gunfights coming through in favor of Omniscient. Bobby, they have a 7-life lead and they're on the B zone.
Operators starting to come out. Gore, Claw, able to find one. Balance pushing through kitchen once again. Time and time again, making the right reads. He's on a 5 spree right now. One player left on B for him to deal with. Turns and burns on to Gone. And just like that, the EMP system has been earned. 6 lives remain for Illuminati. Their final hope of making it into the challenge stage. But Lucky shuts down another with the Deagle in hand. And all hopes have been dashed as they'll capture that B zone, and it is going to be Omniscient coming out on top with the 3-0 win.
I mean, a little bit of irony, isn't it? I mean, you had a 2-0 lead if you're Illuminati to potentially start the reverse sweep in the series. And then you get reverse swept in the control. Put it in the file cabinet for things that should never happen. The operators, a little bit too hesitant to use when they had the chance to be able to win that round, to be able to get that 3-0, and also the potential to be able to even win it 3-1 for crying out loud, as these replays will be alarming for a lot of different and potentially wrong reasons. I mean, the opening breakoff for Omniscient in their opening offense was fantastic, but they could never find their way back over towards the A zone. Illuminati surprised me, and I'm sure a lot of you all watching at home, with just the amount of speed and gusto that they came out from their opening offense. And that was the confidence that they've been missing from a handful of rounds. It just simply was not enough for Omniscient, as it always felt like what we got in the map number 1 and the map number 2. You give these guys some time to learn about what they need to do and what you are throwing at them, they will absolutely eat you alive. A fantastic 3-round sweep there for Omniscient to close out the series.
And I think you got to go back to the end of round 2. Like you mentioned, you have a Pred missile that's used and an operator that's used in a round that is basically a guaranteed win. And after that, they start to lose momentum. And after that, things fall apart quickly for Illuminati. It's those small decisions that start to stack up, and they stacked up big time against them, as they will not be moving on to the challenge stage of our master season.
Just things that you absolutely hate to see. I mean, if you're a fan of Illuminati, they really threw everything in the kitchen sink, pun intended there, for Raid to maybe try to get themselves at least alive in that series, at least take a map as far as this weekend is concerned, but just simply not the case for Illuminati there, Glitter, as Omniscient come in and they get the job done.
Listen, Omniscient might be going home with the 3-0, but that scoreline doesn't necessarily reflect some of the improvements that we saw on behalf of Illuminati and the back and forth that we saw in some of those individual rounds. So it was a well-fought battle, but Omniscient is now the 5th team making their way through into the challenge season, as you'll see reflected here on that bracket, which means there's only 3 more spots left. And up next, we'll be able to see how Alb Eagles and Big fare. Both of these teams coming in from the lower bracket. Big had a 3-0 in their lower bracket round, and Alb Eagles lost to Project X yesterday. So we'll have to see if the Eagles are able to kind of rebound back from their performance after yesterday, if they were able to do any sort of info gathering on Big, because all these teams that are in the lower bracket that came through the lower bracket, we haven't gotten a chance to even see play yet. We don't know a lot about them, so we're going to be learning as we go. But before we get into more matches on the day, first of all, chat, we need to remind you to follow us on social media, X, Insta, and Facebook, so you don't miss a single second of any of the SPS action that we have coming up, not only this weekend, but throughout the rest of the challenge season when it happens. And of course, join our Discord, discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series, to hang out with the community, keep yourselves up to date, and talk all things Call of Duty Mobile. It's a really cool place, so just make sure you head on over and do that. That was a great way to start off the day, though. Omniscient has to feel good about that performance. I'm going to ask you guys when we come back. For now, we'll get everything ready heading into this next match. Like I said, we looked at the bracket. It's Alb Eagles versus Big. That will determine our next team making their way through to the challenge season. We haven't gotten a chance to see Big. We got a small taste of what Alb Eagles are going to be bringing to the table. We'll have to see what these teams do, though, when it is all on the line. Before we do that, we're going to send it to a short break, so don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome back, everybody, to Snapdragon Pro Series, where we just finished our first match of day 2 of our open finals for Call of Duty Mobile in EU. And it was Omniscient who take home the first win in a 3-0 fashion. And that's got to feel good for them to kick off the day. Now we're going to be turning our sights towards our second match of the day between Alb Eagles and Big. And this is a team, like we've said a couple times, we haven't gotten a chance to talk about. I'm excited to see what this matchup can bring to the table. So, Proper, tell me what you expect out of this match.
I mean, I expect for Alb Eagles to be able to continue on with their Surge and Destroy that we got to see yesterday versus Project X. It was the only map that was close for Alb Eagles. Ryan Roots was hitting a lot of good snipes, although Danny didn't really get involved until round number 5. I think that Alb Eagles did look really good in the Search and Destroy, so it's kind of a continuation, right? Is that, yes, you can have a good map number 2, but it's the respawns that are going to at least be able to carry you to maybe see that map number 5.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think Danny is the player that you got to keep your eyes on for the respawns. He had his fair share of struggles in the S&D, but really shown out in the midst of a map where the rest of his team was just getting completely cooked. So could potentially see some substitutions. Obviously, this is not a super experienced Alb Eagles team, but I'm expecting to see at least some improvements out of them. You look over at Big, and obviously not the biggest names in COD Mobile, but definitely some more recognizable names in Rondo and Stariker. They've been around the EU scene for quite a while, and I believe we saw Rondo on 31er last season. So especially seeing the names that we've got there, definitely got to be leaning the direction of Big. Obviously, Alb Eagles look solid in the S&D, so that might be the one mode that they've got to contend with, but I have a feeling this one could be somewhat quick as well.
Ooh, quick. Okay. I wasn't sure what we were going to be getting out of these next 3 matches on the day. If we were going to maybe see some, we've seen nothing but 3-0s the whole time so far. So I wasn't sure if when we got down to this portion of the lower bracket, if we were maybe going to see some 3-1s, even a full 5. But as we get these map picks and bans coming through here, Proper, everything seemed copacetic or anything jumping out at you so far?
Not necessarily, right? I mean, these are all different maps of what we got to see from Alb Eagles. Again, because the lower bracket and how it was all panned out yesterday, we don't have any VOD on Big. Obviously, we know that they do have some time spent, at least in last qualifier, but nothing as far as like map understanding. So it all just mostly just comes down to, you better hope that this map pan pick and veto process is favorable for either one of you guys, because qualification spot is on the line.
If there's one thing that I've learned from the past couple of days is that EU is in love with takeoff and firing range. I think that has accounted for probably 90% of the hardpoint and S&D that we've seen, especially given the fact that it's all been 3-0s. We haven't gotten to see any second maps for hardpoint and S&D. So if I got to predict anything, both these teams probably feeling pretty comfortable with the first couple of map picks, and it might be the standoff. And if we potentially go to a map 4 apocalypse, throw a little wrench in things.
Okay. All right. But you don't seem like you're so certain about game number 4, but we don't have to wait very long to find out because we're getting in. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you look at recognizability for the names. Obviously, you got to lean the way of Big. That off the start, going to be able to find one, and Rondo taking some high ground control. Bison does connect, or rather the PDW does connect right there. They're able to hop on for the first hard point time, holding down those long angles. And I have a feeling this is a gap that we might start to see grow a little bit quickly, especially in the hard point. Yesterday, Alb Eagles did not have a whole lot of bright spots, and they were going up against not a very experienced squad in their struggles as well. So we'll see what they can do right here, but a couple of goose eggs, make it 3 goose eggs still sitting there as they're trying to find a couple of picks. Rytek on the high ground is going to be able to find one. And once again, some interesting weapon choices as well. So if anything, Alb Eagles keeping things fresh and keeping us on our toes.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, the takeoff hardpoint they played versus Project X yesterday, they only put up 51 points, obviously, to the 250 versus Project X. But the one thing is that they stole our hearts for off-meta weaponry, I suppose. So gotta maybe try to correlate that inside of the hardpoint. Maybe get yourself some time, because so far, Big, albeit off of P1, have themselves a very slight lead. The most alarming thing, of course, Bobby, is that they're finding these rotational gunfights to be very favorable for them. They're already locked inside of P2.
Yep. Nobody on the hard point right now. It looks like Big gonna be able to make their way up, and they do take control of those close side spawns. So it looks like they should be able to look forward to some more hard point time locked in. Vat absolutely beaming right there, making a two-piece, and Rondo has built himself some streaks up in the high ground. As it looks like, I'm not sure how he got that many kills earning those streaks if he's only on a 4 combo, but once again, operator streaks start to come out, and Big remain in control as it streaks across the board. 18 seconds remain as they'll look to pick up the scraps right here, and we got a new player in Rosa for this Alb Eagles squad looking for something, but Vat is now on 17 kills, full streaks, and still has his operator ready to go as he is tearing up the map.
I mean, sure, you just got a whole bunch of just different Batmen on the side of Big. I mean, they got utility belts just full of fun little toys that they can use, even if they don't get the rotation over towards P3. They can just break it up. The operators, different streaks. Pick poison. If you're Alb Eagles, you need a response here. Luckily enough for that P2, you kept it scrappy. You're only trailing by 40, but these returning gunfights are just not good. Split spawns are also being read by Big, and my golly, Claw already being pulled out. Yeah, good luck. Have fun just walking into that blunder. Not going to really work out in your favor. Another Predator missile, sure, why not? This lead looking to grow even more.
And it's just streaks on streaks on streaks for Big right now. They're reading these spawns, and Alb Eagles are not really throwing them any new looks, just walking single file right where they're expecting them to be. Rondo's actually got one wrong streak on there, so got to make sure not to throw that down, but not too much to worry about for them as they just continue to run the map. To be honest, with the kill count looking what it is, it's honestly more surprising that we've got 25 points for Alb Eagles than just about anything else that we've seen so far. It is an early setup for Alb, but if I had to guess, they will have a difficult time holding it, as the Gunnies have very rarely gone their way in this one. It looks like solid positioning for Illy right there, but he's going to get picked off by Mirage. Melee's going to come out, and it's pure chaos on the hard point as nobody seems to want to find a kill.
The only thing we're missing from this raid, Bobby, is smokes and some LED lights. Golly, that is just strange to say the least. But hey, look at that, Alb Eagles. They are able to get the break out of the interesting setup, we'll say that much, and recontest to come back through. So 28 seconds left up to grab here as far as the first set of hardpoints are concerned. Big not too far away from the hardpoint themselves. Sarker gonna be able to move their way back inside of the hardpoint as well. Has some reinforcements in tandem as well. Gravity Vortex Cannon going to keep these doors under lock. Predator missiles being called in too strong from Big. And they're gonna have about a 100-point lead, give or take, coming towards the end of the first set.
Well, that has just continued to run the map. 30 kills on the board. Not the prettiest spray right there, but maintains the high ground position. And the kills come through once again for Big as Rondo's starting to get involved, earning himself some streaks. Only one player has made their way into double digits for Alb Eagles as the struggles continue. And Rondo hopping on the hard point is going to see one around the corner as well. Control has been earned for Big, and they look to make their way towards Top Stadium as well. Big gunfight on the inside right there, going the way of Alb Eagles, and Mirage maybe hoping the spectator hadn't hopped his way for that POV, but teammate's going to be able to do the damage, and Vat continues to turn and burn.
35 kills. We're about to go over towards P2 for the second time. Sure. 30 kills as well there for Saka. I mean, this is just a blender. Golly, this is ain't pretty, man. I'll tell you how much. Alb Eagles, I mean, they are just really struggling just to at least get their talons off the floor and just maybe try to get themselves inside the hard point. All that said, I mean, they do have a couple players close over towards P2. Look, I'm trying to be optimistic, Alb Eagles. We gotta win some of these trades and try to get some hard point time.
Honestly, it's a miracle that they've got 39 points at this point. They're trying any weapon they can think of. Illy's going to go ahead and pull the Koshka back out. Purifier is in play for Rondo, and full streaks have been earned once again. One player left to deal with. Make it 2 up in the top side of the Hardpoint. Is shut down, and it almost seems like they're playing TDM at this point. Vat's on 38 already, and these guys are just having fun with it. He's going to continue to push out. They still can't manage to find a trade, and why not give him a major assist right there, drop those streaks, and continue to farm.
I mean, woof. what are we talking about out here? This is disgusting. We're about to be up to 200 points for Big, going in towards rotation for P3. You already got players already on rotation trying to isolate a lot of these plays, and that's actually going to be forcing Alb Eagles to more or less spawn inside of P4 and still on the backside of P2, and that's exactly where Starbreaker's currently chilling with the 50 GS. Yes, sure, why not? Finally giving out that trade. We'll spawn closer over towards that upcoming Hardpoint. Rondo's still over here, by the way. Needs to get traded out. Buys enough time for reinforcements to come through. Gets another Predator missile. It's a clean kill feed. Big looking to close it out here.
Yep, and P3 honestly looked like their strongest hardpoint last time around. Mirage looking to set up that same spawn trap with the claw once again. Maybe gets a little bit over ear, but he can see them spawning in. Oh, what a nasty spot right there as that happens. Spawns to the backside, go the way of Alb Eagles, so they're going to be able to stay alive and more than likely force a rotation on over to P4. Unless maybe we get a god take for Big, but that extra second will secure at least one more P4 for this Alb Eagles squad. Starraker farming some kills, but it's not going to be enough to make their way into the hardpoint. Frenzy earns a couple with the Sparrow in hand, and Alb Eagles with some signs of life here.
I mean, that break comes through. We'll see P4. Alb Eagles getting closer towards 100 points, but I almost feel like for Vat and Zaka, they're sitting there licking their lips with a smile on their face, just like, oh yes, now I can get closer, if not beyond 50 kills coming in towards the end of map number 1. Alb Eagles will have the rotation over towards New. Split spawn does occur. Illy gets red immediately. I mean, Starker just doesn't even let him barely move out of his spawn. So numbers starting to formulate here for Big, looking for the break.
Vat trying to hold him back in spawn. Gonna make the read right there. Picks up 1. Seeing if he can find a couple more. Starraker pushes on through, but the Deagle no match for the Purifier. Rondo a little bit shaky on the shots, but Zaka's gonna be there for the trade. They finally get control of the hardpoint, and reinforcements arrive nonetheless. I think Starraker might actually be on a Deagle only challenge right now, as it's big.
Seems that way.
Big 160 point gap between the two, and Vat continues to farm. I think they're trying to make sure the map doesn't end before they drop the 50 bomb, so they're gonna allow Alb Eagles entry in, but never mind. We'll go ahead and end things there. It's a big win for Big to get things started, 250 to 82.
Hey, but that's 31 more points than Alb Eagles put up yesterday versus Project X. So, optimism brought to you by Proper Cast. Dude, like, I don't even know, like, what to say. I mean, it really does start and stop with just a mechanical difference. Like, and I'm not trying to be bashful towards Alb Eagles. I'm more trying to gas up how good Big honestly looked. I mean, you got 2 players running around like a chicken with their head cut off with SMGs in hand, just cutting off rotations, reading spawns. They're setting up their teams for success. By the time we were done about halfway through the second set, I already had about a 140 point lead, give or take. I already lost count at that point, and it was just going to be a clinical kill race in between Vat and Zaka, who's going to get closer towards 50 bomb. And that's exactly why Vat stepped on the hard point there at the end before he reached 50, not allowing Zaka to get closer to his kill tally.
Yeah, if I had to think, probably foreshadows what we're going to see in the search and destroy is, like you said, very, very obvious difference in the gun skill, let alone the ability to read spawns, the map control, everything else. It's going to be a firing range search and destroy, which obviously we haven't seen for Alb Eagles, and to be honest, that might not be a great sign, as they did definitely seem very, very comfortable on Meltdown. I would have probably liked to be able to play that one again, but like you said, an absolute clinic put on by Big right there. How to chain those hard points together. There was not really any point in that matchup where it seemed like there was much of a chance where they would not be taking the map, and it was raining score streaks all map long. We'll see if Alb can bounce back in what seems to be their favorite game mode in search and destroy, but whew, it's a tall task for a squad that definitely doesn't seem to be super experienced.
I got reminded at the end of that P2 in the first set of hard points. that we had about 3 different players for Big that had full streaks. Like, that's ridiculous. Yeah, casual 49-22 out of VAT, 48-22 for Zaka. So get smoked in the kill race, I guess. But like, golly, yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's I guess we just gotta move on to the search and destroy. Like, it's all you got. If you are Alb Eagles, you need the response here. It was the one map, or the mode, I should say, yesterday that you were able to keep very, very close. And that was thanks to the overwhelming pressure that was Ryan Reeds with that sniper. It constantly allowed them to feel confident in the space that they were taking away. That said, it was on Meltdown. Not that there's going to be a big stark difference in between Meltdown versus firing range coming up. You just have to hope that you can translate all of that sniping pressure to come all the way through and open up the floodgates for Danny to be able to get up close and personal to find a lot of these frags.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the key to success for them. I think you got to look at Big as not only a contender in this matchup, but a team that's likely going to have an impact whenever we get to the challenge stage as well, if they're able to continue this level of dominance. Definitely talent across the board, and maybe an opportunity for us to see some EU talent that we didn't get to see last challenge season. That's one of the beauties of a 128 team bracket, is everybody gets a chance if you're really that good. Because everybody's like, oh, these guys aren't that good whenever they're watching a tournament. I could be better than these guys. Like, you get a chance. That's the beauty of COD Mobile. Every major tournament, you have the opportunity to prove that you can keep up with the best of the best, and that's what this big squad is doing right here. So we'll see what they bring out. I see an MK2, I believe, from Mirage. Definitely seems to be a fan of the off-meta crossbow in hand as well. So I've got a feeling things are going to get nice and crazy here in the firing range search and destroy.
Offense to start things off, at least for Alb Eagles. I mean, going to be at least looking for a couple of these kills, but hey, we got a really good lesson in our last series as far as firing range is concerned. What happens when you leave the middle of that map open, Bobby? Typically, you're going to see a player run through it.
Yep, and that's exactly what happens. Frenzy in a 1v3 right here. Trying to clutch up for the squad, but it looks like the collapse is underway. Boxing gloves are out, and maybe a little bit of trolling to be had, but it might backfire right there as 3 drop. Okay. Unfortunately for him, Mirage is going to pop around the corner, MK2 in hand, and he'll shut things down right there as Big take round 1.
A little bit too close than they wanted, but a little bit of fun nonetheless. What's going to be the response from Alb Eagles this time around? Kind of be splitting their affairs. Thought that they were going to go over towards B. Some players watching the flank over towards A. That's going to be almost the same call here. 4 players strong, starting to work their way through jungle to maybe try to look at this B bomb site.
Well, Starraker getting unorthodox with the KSP in hand. Zaka aggressive toward bathrooms. Another shutdown. Mirage does not see the player slide underneath right there, but Rondo picks up 2 and leaves it all down to Frenzy once again. The crossbows come out, makes his way across the map, trying to clear some of these angles and seeing if he can finesse a 1v4 out of this situation. But the longer he takes, the quicker Big are going to make this rotation back toward the A side. Now coming through trailer, seeming like it's probably only a matter of time, but he shuts down 2. And once again, an opportunity for him to go big. Never mind.
You know, but I gotta appreciate the optimism out of your Bobby. I mean, like, look, I had it in the map number 1. It kind of got squelched almost immediately through the second set. We gotta kind of have it here in the map number 2. The chances were there. Obviously, some good trades to at least bring it back to a 1v2, but nonetheless, Alb Eagles still searching for what might feel right. This time, they're taking their virtues 5 players strong over towards A.
All right. Well, Mirage actually picking up the crossbow kill right there. So once again, unorthodox plays. Starraker on the inside of trailer. Not going to be able to take him off the heady right there. He's forced back. And Alb Eagles actually get control of the A site right here as 2 players are shut down for Big. An opportunity for them to find a round. Frenzy getting real psycho right there. He's going to get shut down. And now Starraker looking for that final kill. It's a 1v2 opportunity, but Psycho comes out on top, and Alb Eagles find themselves their first round of the firing range.
Okay, so the A execute does work. At least you had some players watching the mid-map coverage, and you had snipers overwatching the push over inside of 10. That was a great execution coming through from Alb Eagles, and now they're thinking they're going to call the bluff. They're all going over towards B this time around, Bobby, but Big are very hot off the presses, already through wood, looking to pinch this.
It looks like they're going to be able to take full control. One player backside toward tires. Vat comes out on top of 1 HP. Not going to be able to play his life right there. Rosa had an opportunity but doesn't read the angle properly. And all down to Psycho right here to make the play. He gets shut down. Now it's all Frenzy, and Mirage comes through with the MK2 once again. Not missing too many of those shots. Easy to fuse for Big as they extend the lead out to 2.
And that's just really good recognition of what was going down, right? If you are Big, you send those 2 players to the middle of the map, not even looked at. No bullets were coming their way. They get inside a wood. If you're Vat, you go 1 for 1, and you just play the retake off the numbers. That was a great execution for retake coming through from Big, not allowing Alb Eagles to be able to get a full coverage and set up post plant there at B. So back to the split push coming through here for Alb Eagles. What is going to be round number 5. Chopper in hands, just trying to spray through almost everything. Considering its firing range, everything is basically paper mache. Still, all 10 players were previously up, but 2 are immediately fall for Alb Eagles. Numbers here for Big.
And if you're Alb Eagles, you'll take the information, but unfortunately, Vat's going to be able to get aggressive on the backside. Zaka forcing toward bathrooms and seeming like only a matter of time right here. Some body shots as Rondo picks up the final kill there. And Big once again extend the lead as Alb not finding that same success that they saw in the search and destroy yesterday. Obviously, Roots is having himself a good map once again, 6 kills on the board, but the rest of the squad struggling. Pontex, Rosa not able to keep up. Trying a couple of these different looks, and it looks like this time they're just going to sit back and spawn, look for their snipers to find picks, and well positioned for Pontex to find at least 1 to start things there. But there's Mirage once again with the MK in hand.
Yeah. I mean, that is such a great counter call coming through. You're expecting the push. You just hope that the kills come through. Ryan Roots under immediate pressure. The flank coming through immediately for Big. Leaves Frenzy in a 1v2.
Let's go.
And timing might go his way as both players wrap to the backside of trailer. One going to peek mid, but I don't think found eyes on him. And if they peek past this bomb head, he should be a freebie. If he's able to make the read on the one remaining player, he could make it happen. But Barrage just does not miss every time he's been in a 1v1 to close out the round. He has executed perfectly, and now 6 kills on the board as we flip sides with Big up 4 here in the search and destroy.
You just hope that Pontex is going to be able to stay alive there in that final round inside a wood to help out with that flank push that inevitably came all the way through. 2 rounds are all that is required for Big to put this one to rest. They already lost out on first blood. A lot of good map positioning coming through for Alb Eagles, but Big on off the press, trying to at least take it back, but losing more lives along the way.
And Big are just hunting right now, but the over-aggression ends up backfiring as it's now all down to Mirage, 1v5, and we've seen him clutch a couple of times. It's not going to happen right there, though. Boxing gloves on the inside of the trailer will earn Alb Eagles another round, and maybe a time to reevaluate for Big as they get overly confident there, and they end up paying for it. Alb Eagles, great adjustments to be able to take a round, and once again, it looks like Big are going to look to get aggressive, but need to find a first blood, and that's exactly what Mirage does.
Bomb in the hand of that, just immediately pushing inside of the B bomb side. There's 2 players here for Alb Eagles. You got to be able to find the kills, and yeah, Vat says, absolutely, I will step up to the cause, and I will deliver on the goods. So Ricker trying to still maybe like dodge, dip, dive, and dodge again, maybe trying to find a couple more boxing kills, but Vat's still alive, back tires.
Yep, not a pretty spray. Makes it a 2v2 right here. Rondo patrolling the mid map, but nobody there to be found. And the bomb is down over on the B side and not in a good spot. Looks like the players for Big are going to have to clear at least 1 to have a chance at picking this up. Probably a fairly predictable position for Rosa, but shots across will not connect. And now it's all down to Mirage right here. Got a crossbow and an MK2 to see what he can do, but not going to have eyes on either player. Crossbow connects, but does not have time to make the turn with the MK. And now back-to-back rounds going through for Alb Eagles.
Yeah, great choice and decision-making come through from Alb Eagles. Like, it was just that opening round, right? So you want to at least split your defense, but they send that extra player over towards that B bomb side, and it works out wonderfully. Vat did find 2, but the response was that much better coming through from Psycho playing onto the backside of tires. So now another change coming through from Big. 5 players strong, rushing towards it.
Nice and aggressive as Mirage opens things up, but they lose 1 player in the process. And Not even sure what that angle is that he's trying to hit shots through. Won't be able to connect. Will Zaka read the player? Sandbags. He does. Beautiful spray. Star Raker finds one for himself as well. And now all down to the 2 remaining players. Psycho's going to be able to find one. He's been crucial for this Alb Eagles squad. And a nice wrap by Frenzy right here as he makes his way onto the bomb site. He's going to get red, but finds the kill anyway. Nobody flanking the backside. And unfortunately for him, the information is not there as Big find the round and are now on map point.
I mean, the intentions were pure coming through from Frenzy. I mean, a tall ask in a 1v3. Had to try to turn it, expecting them to be up there at the training dummies, but everybody was just having a little party inside of 10. Map point coming through for Big. They finally stopped almost playing with their food, you'd feel. A nice execution over towards A. Mid-map coverage already. Zaka's already pushed all the way up in towards the enemy spawn.
Ooh, and Zaka doesn't read Frenzy, but able to get one before he's traded out. Mirage makes the read right there, and the double quick scope with the MK manages to connect. Rondo gonna make sure to clear out top 10, and now a little bit more clinical gameplay out of this Big squad. Psycho's gonna be able to find one, but can't find the second as Big close out the round, and once again managed to take even more of a lead here with only potentially one map remaining.
I mean, it's a fun search and destroy, but maybe for all the wrong reasons, honestly. I mean, through a lot of those opening rounds, you saw a lot of quick B executes coming through from Alb Eagles. Wasn't really working out for them. The reason being is because, hey, firing range wasn't built yesterday. You leave the middle of the map open and you can't at least hold the flank. These replays will show just that. You're going to get a lot of players from Big just rushing straight in towards that pinch and just absolutely denying you any sort of entrance over towards B. And shoot, even when they got inside of the B bomb site, when they got that plant, they were so hesitant on what still needed to be cleared that they had no idea how to set up a post plant. And those 4 players that were still alive from Big just retook that bomb site almost within about like 3.5 seconds as it ended up going down. So a lot of responses, sure, coming through from Alb Eagles. Those 2 rounds on defense were quite emphatic. I don't know how much you could put stock into it, considering that Big were almost playing with their food at certain times, Bobby. But Big, when it matters the most, when they started losing those rounds, they finally dropped all the fun, all the acts. They said, let's just execute over towards E, give ourselves a standard rollout over towards A, and it worked out quite wonderfully.
And unfortunately for Alb Eagles, respawns have not been a strong suit for them, and we head into a control map that can get very one-sided very, very quickly, especially with it being standoff. So they're going to have to be on their, I don't think it can be A game. It's got to be like their S plus game. I don't even know what to call it. It's a type of game that we have not seen out of them so far. And for Big, all you really have to do is play your game and trust in your gunny. I don't even know that you necessarily have to play this tactically, given what we saw in the Hardpoint, but also you can't get overly confident. That's something that we've seen backfire for teams, and I'm curious to see if maybe they lock things in and just go for an immediate win, not giving up any additional rounds, because sometimes if we see these teams get overly confident, you give away rounds and you let the scoreboard not necessarily reflect how dominant you've been.
Yeah, and I think that is really important for teams that are down here in the lower bracket. Look, if it is a mismatch, you want to try to win it as dominant as possible. That's the statement that you need to have for yourself. Look, if you're going to make it to the next stage here in SPS Season 4, you better hope that you showcase your talents and abilities the best way possible, because when you start opening up the floodgates to all of your mistakes, albeit maybe they are forced or maybe they are actual mistakes, that gives the teams all the way up the top be able to learn from those mistakes and absolutely deny you any sort of rounds, let alone maps. So I think when you're loading into the standoff control, looking at it from Big's perspective, you're absolutely right. You need this to be emphatic. That said, I wouldn't necessarily deny the fun and kill races that we had from the takeoff Hardpoint. Only time will tell.
All right, it's going to be Big on the defensive side to get things started. That's definitely where you'd like to be when it comes to standoff. Frenzy not able to connect as Mirage finds the early shutdown. Rosa doesn't even find the trigger button before getting dropped right there. And it looks like Alb Eagles are going to be forced back into their spawn instantaneously off the start of this one. Panicking for a way out. Vat's going to be able to pick up another, and they do manage to find a couple right there as Pontex comes out on top. So a solid response from Alb Eagles to get things started, but they're going to need to push out for some more map control toward that gas station side. Fortunately, Frenzy's going to be there to pick up one along with Rosa.
Top of the scoreboard, of course, is Flip, but we already know that Vat is playing for Big, and Ryan Roots is going to be on Alb Eagles, and that life lead quickly gets dwindled down to at least maybe 2. You got players over towards that B zone, at least thus far, maybe trying to get themselves a little bit further forward, maybe trying to get themselves a couple segments of progression. But I mean, just when you feel like you have some semblance of map control, you get bamboozled and you're back to spawning behind grandmas.
Yeah, it's starting to get rough. Definitely solid start for them to be able to keep things even, but it looks like Big have been able to make those adjustments, and now getting pushed up to their headies, they're in prime position to farm these kills, and that is exactly what they do. Up 13 lives right here. Starricker picks up another, and Alb Eagles scrambling, trying to make their way out of spawn. They drop one by one. Rosa and Frenzy, the last standing, is going to be Rondo coming out on top in that one. It's not even going to come down to lives. They run out of time as Big take a dominant round 1.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, they still had 20 lives left. Wow. And yeesh, and other words that are scary for Alb Eagles as far as that opening rollout is concerned. But I mean, that's standoff control in a nutshell. You don't want to weigh the gunfights. You're going to be put in the absolute blender of a spawn trap. So now it's their chance potentially for Alb Eagles to do the same thing versus Big. They're splitting their affairs on offense. Are Big trying to at least get back behind gas station, back behind the hotel, is at least going to be Starricker, maybe try to get a couple of these spawn kills. It's setting up wonderfully for at least a pinch for Vat, who is over by that B tank. And the kills from the middle of the map are that much better. But Bobby, they don't care about that A zone. They want the B zone first and foremost, if not more kills as well.
Yep, they are very content to play TDM right there. Starricker is going to be able to pick up another. Full streaks have been earned for him. Actually, just short of the EMP system, but that was more for show than anything else anyway. So they continue to absolutely tear up the map, and love seeing them lock in and take this one seriously. The operators do start to come out, is once again not too concerned with the objective. They want to get all 30 of those kills if at all possible. Some body shots going through there as well. Mirage going to find a 2-piece, and the spawn trap is now set for Big, as it seems only a matter of time here in round 2 as well.
Frenzy is pushed up almost inside of Elbow. I would love to be able to see them get a little bit further activate, maybe get a little bit of assistance to help their team leave the spawn. But I mean, you are trailing by about 10 lives. Frenzy's still alive over here. He's going to at least get himself on the board with a couple more kills. But Starricker's right there to answer back. Pred Missile does get called in from Starricker. Is going to continuously find more kills. The claw from Mirage. Sure, why not? 3 versus 18. You stand no chance. It's going to be Big with a 2-0 lead.
Pontex looking for a 1v17 right here.
I believe.
Honestly, hey, hold up. Big have to be careful. They have not hopped the objective. They need to stop the clock right here, and they do so with 2 seconds, but they nearly give away the round off the back of that. And Zaka's gonna nade himself right there. Pontex pops the Annihilator, said, hey, you know what? I could probably pull off a 1v15 right here. I'm not sure if he realizes that you got to stop the objective capture. Hold up. And doesn't necessarily have to right now. Still has 1 to work with, and finds 2 with the Annihilator. Unfortunately, Rondo says no more here, sir, and that's going to be Big, now 1 round away from closing the series.
I mean, they wanted to put themselves on a 30 kill race within a 1 minute and 30 time clock, but had to hop on that zone. I mean, the Annihilator being popped by Pontex. I mean, you could just almost just feel it from the Alb Eagles camp. I mean, this is just such a tough matchup for them to try to combat it against. Even their rollout, a little bit of hesitant to even get past Delhi. Some good trades are to speak of. Outside of Delhi, they're going to hop this A zone, Bobby, and at least try to get themselves a little bit of a stall clock and maybe some more kills as Big have to recontest.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Alb, the one bright spot they had yesterday in the respawns was Danny, and he has been absent for them today, and it has definitely been felt in a bad way. They do a good job of fighting back here. They keep the lives fairly even. Psycho looking for some spawn trap action, but unfortunately not going to be able to execute. Illyrian Roots, what can he do with the War Machine in hand? Little pre-fire, not going to connect right there, and just like that, Big wrapped the corner, able to take him down. Psycho there for 1 trade, but it once again seems like only a matter of time. Rosa Gravity Vortex gonna come out. Zaka The crossbow, why not? It's all blue in the feed, and it's 21-9 here as Big look to close out the series.
Oh, it's just inevitable at this point, isn't it, Bobby? 18 plays up against 6 now. You got players pushing up past the blue van. That's going to get inside a deli. Favor for the reload, as they're still trapped inside on Grandma's. Even the Hunter Killer drone coming through from Ronda is going to find Rosa. Means that they don't have to worry about the flank at all. Last 3 players left alive. Can Alb Eagles find any semblance of kills? It doesn't seem likely. Big are going to have a nice hot 3-0 on the day.
And the operators come out. The clock's ticking down. Vat finds the final. And that will be another 3-0 as we are now 6 for 6 in EU. 3 O's for days. Big come out on top and secure a spot in the challenge stage for EU COD Mobile Masters.
I mean, what else can you honestly say? I mean, this entire series was just broken to pieces by the sheer ferocity that was this Big roster. Might have to change their name from Big to Absolutely Huge with the way that they just decimated Alb Eagles, because, I mean, that was just an absolute clinic. Not even as far as objective play is concerned. I mean, we got to see at least some good fundamental play in the opening set of hardpoints there on takeoff. So the last few rounds on offense as far as search are concerned, and even the first few for defense. But control was just, how fast can we get these kills and how much time can we just shave off the clock in this spawn trap?
Yeah, they put on a show right there, and Glitter, I can't wait for your breakdown of that matchup that we just witnessed.
I mean, Big put on a show. You said that you thought, Bobby, that they were going to be the ones that came out on top in that one, and they did so decidedly, to say the least. I think that we're starting to get a better understanding of what we also could potentially see in the challenge season, because now we're halfway through the day. There are only 2 more spots available in the upcoming challenge season. 4 more teams will be battling it out for those spots. You can see down there at the bottom of our lower bracket round of 8, we've got 2 more matches left to go. And if yesterday and now, I guess half of today is any indication, that can be done very quickly. So if you're at home, literally don't leave the stream for a second, because you might walk away and then come back and have missed an entire match, and you don't want to risk it. There's only 2 more left. All right. And if you do happen to miss it, though, don't forget to be following us on social media. You'll get all of your updates there, X, Insta, and Facebook, for all information SPS related. Or you could join our Discord, discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series. Hang out with us there, chat with the community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile. Just do it. Make sure you're hanging out with us there, because like we're saying, 50% of the day of day 2 is done. So 75% of the entire open finals competition is done. The next match coming up will be between Mont and Squids. So we've got a returning face from last season and a new team coming up from these open finals. Could be another good matchup. We won't know what to expect, but we'll find out in just a little bit. But before we do, you guys know how this works, okay? Same formula across the board. This will be your only opportunity to get those snacks and those drinks, because it's time for another short break. Match number 3, though, coming up when we return.
The Snapdragon Pro Series, powered by Samsung Galaxy, is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true. Where everything you want can be yours. If and only if you're willing to work for them. You're willing to hurt for them. But most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Ha! Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting? It's hot. Look what I got. Whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Welcome to the place where
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series. It's almost time for us to get into match number 3 of the day, which means there's only 2 matches left to determine all of our challenge squads in the next season. And we mentioned it before the break that match number 3 will be between Mont and Squids coming up right around the corner. Hopefully you guys have been keeping up with all of the action here so far. If you haven't, day 1, all 3 O's. First half of day 2, 3 O's. I don't know what is going on here today, but people are burning through the competition as we take a look at the Mont roster here proper. Talk to me a little bit about them.
Yeah, Mont, you know, we saw them yesterday and they ended up losing to Kings in a quite decisive 0-3. Nobody was surprised. We haven't gone to a map 4 this entire weekend so far. So some familiar faces returning. Obviously, Jay, Days, and Fahim are all returning players, but you do have obviously the pickup and Lydia as well as Etsy. And the thing that we saw yesterday is that Lydia is a fantastic pickup for Mont. She could slay with the best, honestly. And it just mostly feels that Mont is going to come down to a certain point in time where they need to be able to fundamentally be strong if they want to find themselves to be a real contender come the upcoming season.
And then on the flip side, Bobby, we've got a little bit of an unknown squad here. New name in Squids coming into the open final. So talk to me about the roster.
I'll be honest. I think it might be another 3-0 because I do not know anybody on this squad, or maybe I could be proved pleasantly wrong, and this could be the up-and-coming talent that we should all be fearing in Call of Duty Mobile. Don, if Don is Donlai, then this may actually be a very solid squad because he's the player that we saw in Stage 5 in 2021. But if that's a different Don, then this is a team that definitely has a lot to prove heading into this matchup.
Yeah, and that's kind of the whole point of Snapdragon Pro Series, right? We're going to have the big names, the recognizable returning forces like the Monts, who, you know, I think maybe we wouldn't have wanted them down in the lower bracket, but then there are the new teams coming in, given the opportunity to make a name for themselves. So we'll have to see what Squids can do with said opportunity as the veto process is now underway. Those picks and bans are coming through. Anything jumping out at you here, Proper?
I mean, the firing range search and destroy is always going to be there. You know, ever since Bobby did bring that up in our last series, we're just always guaranteed to have a firing range map number 2, express map number 5, but we got to get there for crying out loud. I mean, how cool would it be to see a map number 4 on Apocalypse? Just a map number 4 in general, but I mean, nothing really jumping off the page too much. I mean, obviously, we just want to be able to see Mont in prime form and maybe to be able to get some new names under the wings here with the Squids roster.
Bobby?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm excited to see what Squids are going to bring to the table. Obviously, Mont, I think, had, for their standards, a disappointing series yesterday. They didn't really have any super close maps, and I know they're a team that have been putting in a lot of work, so I'm expecting them to come out full steam ahead. I would be surprised if we saw a lot of trolling out of this squad because they are a team that wants to be considered a serious contender here in the European COD mobile scene. So we'll see what they bring to the table. Looking at the profile pics, I'm assuming that Don is not Don Lai, and that is a brand new Don. So we'll see what they're bringing to the table. But yeah, definitely expecting for Mont to make a statement right here as we get headed in to P1 of map 1.
Oh, it's Arsenal, baby. I mean, the amount of times that I have spent just absolutely loving this map, I'd have to take off my socks to count that high, I tell you that much. But opening P1, it's very tough. It's an absolute blender. A lot of different vent ways and windows and opportunities to maybe try to upset this P1 setup. But Mont They look cozy inside here. I mean, all 5 players strong. They're reading all the different pushways from a couple different doors in and around cafeteria. Look pretty damn good, setting up 25 points strong here on B1.
Based on some of the scrim clips that I've seen from this Mont squad, I've got a feeling that this was probably their map pick. It's one that they've seemed to be able to compete even up against the best in EU on. You can see it right here, 38-0 start here on map number 1, and Squids are absolutely scrambling right here, trying to find any semblance of map control, trying to find a gunfight in general. They're going to go ahead and chalk their losses and head on over toward P2. Fahim finds 1 before getting traded out, and with SC taking the high ground control right here, it is going to be very tough for anyone to make their way on in for this Squid squad before they take out that position.
Rotation over towards P2. You can see it right here on your screen. Mont, we're already talking about, going to have that rotation over towards New. The setup very good in and around top flat, having to give it up, at least for the time being. A real good opportunity did start to present itself, at least for player as Squids. The flank might still try to come all the way through for Simicsy, but I mean, the setup just looking pretty damn good for Mont once again. Squids have yet to even get a single point on the board.
It looked like they were finally going to be able to take that topside position and maybe find a way into the hard point, but at every turn, Mont have been able to shut them down. Lydia, 9 kills on the board already. Having quite a map right here as Daytel is going to look to cut off those rotations as well. And Etsy on a 5 spree right now, going to go ahead and head toward P3. And to be honest, Squid's doing a good job of getting this early setup. It's just a question of will they be able to hold it, and for the most part, the answer has been no to that at every time that we've seen so far. Will they find their first points on the board? Yes, they will. But losing those bottom side spawns, it's not looking like it's going to last very long.
All the setup, I mean, for Squids, yes, you got the 7 points. You were there for the initial setup. They thought the push was all going to be coming past trees. They thought it was all going to be coming through from the factory side. It's simply not the case at all. It's all coming down low over by the stairs. And I mean, Mont just absolutely bamboozled Squids, who thought that they had the read. Already have operators being pulled, Claw already in the hands for 1, have a Predator missile being called in for Lydia. And just where you thought Squids might start to get some footing, it's only 7 points strong. Mont are past triple digits.
Yep, and as expected, Mont are completely locked in right here. No trolling today. They want to end this one as quickly as possible and lock in their spot in Masters Challenge season. Right now, they're well on their ways. They'll gladly give up 6 seconds of scrap time to Squids to go ahead and head on over toward P4. And they've already got 4 players there and ready to go. There are 200 killers in the sky just looking for a Squids player to take out. And Lydia's going to lock down that window with the Purifier as Squids continue to scramble. 2 players with only 2 kills on the board, and they have not seen a single glimmer of hope on this map.
I mean, Lydia has just essentially the entire P1 push is already locked in. Purifier starting to run out of, I guess, water. But nonetheless, it's just decimation incarnate. The rotation over towards batteries was just already so early. You already called it, just completely conceding the back scrap time there on the previous hill. This setup is so good. It's a split push that might start to manifest. You can see it already starting to come through from the ramp side. That's where the majority of Squids are coming from. But we're already down to scrap time. Even if you get these 20 seconds, Mont still have a commanding lead at the end of the first set.
And finally, the operators come out for Squids. They take control of the hard point, but only 1 player there. It is going to be Veru shutting down 1 and finds, what, 4 seconds of scrap time before immediately Mont make their way back on, and Jay Sage just tear and throw him with the kilo in hand. Daytel continues to suppress. He's earned himself an EMP system, and Mont completely locked in here on map number 1 as they are looking to make it a quick day, and no surprise, they're there on rotation early once again.
Yep. Setup around P5 is looking pretty damn good. Mont already threatening to be at the 200 point mark. Squids trying to get the 20. Annihilator already pulled out for Daytel. He's swinging wide. He's got to find 3. Shut him down where they previously stood, my friend. Golly, Mont are at 200 points.
It has not been pretty. 19, they're just trying to get in the 20-point club. Forget the 100-point club. Can we get into the 20-point club for Squids? Pred missile's gonna drop. EMP's still there if he wants it, but I don't know any scenario where he would possibly be taking down a score streak from the opposing team, because I would imagine the highest streak any of them have seen is probably maybe 2.
I mean, what are we supposed to say, Bobby? I mean, the slays aren't there. The rotations were only there for a single hard point, and the reads just were lacking. Claw now pulled out for Fahim again. 38 kills for Daytel. I mean, it is just an absolute clinic. You feel like it's a matter of time. Fahim again showing up on the kill feed. Lydia's nade's going to take down Simixy. 250 points is inevitable at this point. Squids are looking to get put in the 20-point club, and they didn't have a single say about it.
Just seeing the 248 and the guy slowly making his way through vents, and then War Machine to the face. Just the cherry on top right there for Mont. But as expected, they handle business. There was zero trolling, zero memeing. This is a team that, like we said, wants to be taken seriously in the EU competitive scene, and they make a statement right there, putting Squids in the 20-point club.
Doesn't get more serious than that. I mean, the only way that you can get more serious, I guess, is how'd you even allow them to get double digits? My bad. I mean, the one thing that we can walk away from this, again, the entire narrative is that Mont wants to be taken seriously, and you almost have to. It was very clinical. Their setups were absolutely pristine. When they were the first ones to the hard point, they knew exactly how to set themselves up. This is how Arsenal works. You don't fully understand where the spawns are going to be coming from, and you always have to expect them for them to be split, and you just have to be able to be in an earshot or a tradable distance from your teammates. Mont were exemplifying that time and time again. And in the break, when it came through over by the trees hardpoint, over by Jet, that is where it really became serious for Mont. They completely dissected Squid's setup that was just too far forward over by the factory side, thinking that it was going to be a trees push, but it all came through from flowers. This is the Mont that we expect to see, and they are delivering on the goods today.
Yeah, it's once again kind of similar to what we've talked about a lot of times, but it's tough to, after that map 1, draw up a narrative where there's any realistic chance for for this Squid squad to have a chance in the search and destroy. Smixy goes, what is the word for 9x? Like 5x is quintuple. What's 9x?
Too much.
Nuntuple? Untuple negative for Smixy, and didn't even get a second in the hard point. That's just gonna be really, really tough to bounce back from.
Etsy only died 3 times. 3 deaths. Sure, man. It's gonna be tough. I mean, you already said it just quite wonderfully. That's gonna be tough to really bounce back from. But I mean, this is always going to be the conversation, especially through a lot of these opens, making your way to the challengers side of things, is that if you want to be taken seriously, obviously your gameplay needs to be a showcase of that, but the mental is also just about everything. You have to try, and I really emphasize try, to wipe the slate clean from getting absolutely belittled on that Arsenal hardpoint, only putting up 19 seconds on the board and coming to this firing range with just about everything you got.
Yeah, and obviously search and destroy, you know, mode of the underdog. You have maybe a sniper that pops off and gets you some rounds, so we'll see what they can do here. Firing range, obviously the map that everybody in EU wants to see when it comes to the search and destroy. It's just going to be a question of, is there that one player that can really pop off and give them a chance? We'll have to wait and see right here as we get ready to head into map number 2. If I was to look at somebody that could maybe carry, I mean, Reversa had 9 kills, so almost broke into double digits, but just not a whole lot of bright spots for the Squid squad.
You are grasping at straws here, brother. I mean, like, it's my turn to be optimistic. If there's one thing Squids had going for them in that map number 1, their logo is really cool. I'm pretty sure that's like a squid, like doing like a yoga zen pose. So I mean, like, they got that going.
It's not even a squid. I'm pretty sure it's an octopus.
It looks like an octopus. Yeah. Squids have long heads, and octopus have like the bulbous head. So like, I don't really know. They might be having an identity crisis, but they got to figure out who they are coming into this firing range, search and destroy. But all of that said, I want to continue to see this fundamental dominance, if you will, from Mont coming into this firing range, right? Because they only put 2 rounds on the board when they ended up losing their match in the upper qualification match yesterday. What have they learned? If anything, can they implement that into this one? I want to see how dominant, honestly, Mont can really take this series. How many rounds are they going to give up, truly?
And it really goes to show you like how big the gap is between being a ranked warrior and being the best of the best, because this is a Mont squad that got absolutely smacked around by Kings yesterday. That's not to say they're not good. It could have been a bad day for them, but Kings handled it like it was absolutely nothing. And what Mont are doing to Squids is even more dominant than what we saw yesterday. So it just goes to show how much work these top players have put in to get to where they are, to earn the spots that they have in this challenge season. And I'd say Mont have definitely earned the respect that they have. And I've got a feeling they're going to look to continue to dominate right here. Looks like a good deal of snipers coming out as they'll look to find some first bloods, but I would imagine staying aggressive on all sides of the bomb here heading into the firing range.
You got a feeling, but are you hooked on it, brother? Offense first for Squids. I don't blame you at all. They're trying to bum rush their way over towards B, and you're going to see, I mean, Daytail's in a perfect spot. Solo Chow. Where's the trade? That shouldn't happen. He trows again. He finds another. Are you kidding me?
It is bold of you to assume that they know what a trade is.
All right, my bad, gangsters.
Pretty expected. Round number one, Don's going to be able to find one, but that went about as about the way anybody would have thought it would. Looks like they're going to full send it on over toward B once again, and only one player there to defend. They said never mind. Actually, vehicle explosion from his accidents right there should open up the B site, and there's not really anybody here to defend for Mont. Etsy's gonna make his way through the mid map, has an angle, but not able to land the quick scope. Fortunately for him, Jay does. And just like that, two players drop for Squids. Bomb still in hand, but it looks like they're going to try to wrap back toward the A site. They're going to be able to drop Fahim right there, but there are so many snipers in play, and they seem to all be connecting as Don is left all alone.
Swap into the L card just to be able to get the job done there with the pocket SMG. Sure, why not? Things got hairy, and that's only just because you have a handful of snipers. And I mean handful, I mean literally everybody has a sniper for Mont. So, yeah, if you're Squids, I mean, the only real way that you're going to be able to dismantle this is, again, you know, fundamental search and destroy, bait switch. Nades need to be on point. This is going to be an AX2 coming through, but Mont are understanding and have a hard read on it.
Smixy's going to be able to find one right there. 2 kills on the board. Solid mid-map control is... It's going to be another, but the trades go through for Mont, and once again, they clean things up right there. Maybe a couple of bright spots as some solid reads made out of a couple of those Squids players, but still 2 players sitting on their goose eggs that are protecting them for dear life. Veru and Reversa have not been able to contribute a whole lot in this one. It looks like an aggressive A push right here. Some pressure toward the mid map as well, but it's going to be Jay pushing all the way up through, and those smokes did not do what they thought they were going to. Finds 1, make it 2 right there before getting traded out, and once again, Mont hold the advantage.
Yeah, wait, you thought a smoke was going to stop Jay from just pushing mid? No, sirree. Squids are just getting absolutely demolished. Last player alive is done, and well, just as soon as I had the thought, they go down. So this is the dominance again that we wanted to see out from Mont, albeit having a certain amount of fun. I will say that much with all the snipers. I mean, you know, snipers are really fun, and everybody loves them here in COD Mobile. But you'll probably never see this versus a top team. But the rollouts and understanding team shots and reading where a lot of these hits are coming from are at an all-time high.
Ooh, and they are absolutely pinched inside the sandbags right there. Everything seems to connect, and even when it doesn't, trades are there for Mont. They clean things up. Quick 5-0, and it's a 5-0 in the map as well, as they're, as expected, steamrolling their way to victory. And to be honest, even if they were to pull out off-metal weapons, I don't think it would necessarily be considered trolling, because I just don't see, even if they're using, oh, and here we have the nail gun coming out, so maybe a little bit of goofiness for Mont as they look to get aggressive right here. Etsy's actually going to get shut down, and Jay suffers the same fate. Fortunately, Fahim able to connect, and the 3v3 now down to a 3v2 as Mont get locked in once again.
Me too. I mean, there is a chance. There was a chance And now that champs is just completely just gone. Yeah, I mean, in a 2v3, there was, and then you immediately lose that last player. Nobody was in a tradable position, and yeah, Mont going up 6-0. Casual.
All right. Well, we flip sides. It is going to be Mont now on the offensive. See what they can do right here. They have 4 players holding hands together on the backside of 10. Not sure what the game plan is. Miss accidents. Spraying on through, looking for some info, not going to find it, and will get taken down instead. Jay picking up another 2 players isolated over toward the B side, and it is going to be Lydia waiting for that push up. Another 5-0 round in a 7-0 series, or a 7-0 map. That might be the fastest search and destroy I've ever seen.
Well, DoorDash challenge on firing range never hurt nobody unless you're Squids, I suppose, because by God, there was not even a single answer. I mean, through even the first round, I just felt like I was like, all right, cool. We're getting a B push off the rip. You have one player that's just playing in a close corner behind the tin wall. And I mean, you said apparently they don't know what trades are. And I think that first round was a great indication that you are absolutely right, my friend. Golly, that is just shouldn't never happen. Like, Daytel is just vibing. He's kicking his feet up. He gets the first solo chow. It doesn't look to that side. And he swings wide, gets the next one, and then just pushes for 2 more. Like, why? How is that even a thing that should be allowed? It's illegal maneuvers for Mont, and Squids just could not stop it from happening.
Yeah, it's tough to even really point to anything that Squids did to break it down, because the majority of it was just kind of run out, seeing if you can win a couple of gunfights. If you don't win any gunfights, you chalk the round, and it's reflected in the scoreboard. Lydia literally did not die. Nice clean 7-0 for that map. Jay picking up 11 and 2. You know, they made him pay 2 times whenever he full sent it through the middle of the map through smokes and wanted to challenge every single person that he encountered. So I think we can cut him a little bit of slack on that one.
Can we though? No, that's inexcusable. Unbelievable. It's poor decision making. 2 deaths and a 7-0. Do better. Nonetheless, look, Dave, this is exactly what we just want to see continuously. You know, even rewatching the broadcast from yesterday while we were, you all were talking over Mont just getting absolutely slaughtered by Kings, is that you understand, like Kings is a really good team, but Mont are legendary within their own right. We expect them to be at this caliber, and they are delivering on all of that plus some more, right? I mean, albeit having some fun across a couple rounds there on firing range, it's how you can at least understand how they were rolling out, is that they are playing very fundamentally sound. The same thing could be said from the Arsenal Hardpoint. Now you just got to wrap it up in a beautiful bow here on this Sunday afternoon or evening, as it may be for Europeans, and just send this on home. Just make the standoff control as dominant as possible. No holds barred. Make this a very fast 3-0.
Yeah, they're looking to continue the trend in EU with the 3-0s, and there's absolutely no reason to expect it would be anything different here as this Mont squad look to punch their ticket for the challenge season. They showed a lot of improvement throughout the last challenge season. I think a lot of people were impressed by how well they were able to match up against Kings, and obviously a little bit of a gap has grown there, but no question they have put in the work and earned the respect that they have here in Europe. So they're going to look to close things out quickly. I'm not even expecting them to TDM it. I think they're hopping the objective and seeing if they can just straight speed run this, because that's what they did in the Hardpoint. That's what they did in the S&D. Clinical gameplay. I'm expecting the same here as well.
Only time will tell. Up on offense first for Mont, so step 1 is at least getting past Deli. Step 2, getting on that A zone, which, hey, JC is already dancing around the front door here at the hotel, and he has a wonderful pinch actually set up for Daytel as well around the back, and it is as clinical as you could possibly ask. Opening 5 gunfights all go Mont's way. They have yet to lose a single life.
And right now, Squids are staring down the barrel of a spawn trap. They finally pick up their first kill on the map, but they are just absolutely scrambling as they are running around the Mont players instead of shooting at them. It streaks for days, 2 kills to 11 so far. Daytel, you're welcome to drop that pred on the spawn whenever you would like to. Etsy's going to continue to push through as well. Lydia's earned a pred. the only players that aren't picking up kills, it's because their teammates aren't letting them, because the enemy is dying too quickly. 4 kills to 20 so far, and Mont are not messing around in this one. J-Say finally gonna drop as he's taking out a spawn, but once again, Mont having the absolute speed run of a lifetime.
Yeah, I'll say. Getting on the objective, forcing the issue a little bit more, and just nah. Oh no, final kill comes through before the third segment could be captured, and anybody got a white towel to throw in for Squid's side? Mercy.
I've got a lot of respect for them for playing this one all the way out. You know, you get Don picking up 3 kills. Given the absolute bloodbath that we just witnessed, honestly, kind of impressive. Etsy's gonna get pushed through toward Tractor right here, and they're gonna look to set up the spawn trap early. Once again, they have families. Etsy putting them on skates. The Preds flying from above. Kills left and right. There has yet to be a single kill from the side of Squids so far in this round.
And they go flawless. Oh, well, of course, I had to curse it immediately.
Etsy, what are we doing?
Yeah, honestly, a hard throw. Like, seriously. Etsy needs to be replaced off of that. Inexcusable. But he also goes down. But, I mean, this spawn trap at the back of Grandma's is just absolutely ruthless. You have 100 killer drones just rotating in and around this tank as well. Daytail's getting in your face with an Annihilator. I mean, this looks fun if you're Mont.
I don't even know if you can call this experience for Squids. Like, I don't know.
Oh, it's not for sure.
Legitimately anything that you can learn from this. I don't think there's any VOD that you can look at and like, oh, this is where it went wrong. Like, the rounds are already decided from the start. It's tough to break down. And Mont haven't used most of their operators. They saved most of them for the start of the round.
This DoorDash challenge has been brought to you by Mont. I mean, this is just egregious. Media push, at least over past the Tractor, but it's a media 3-for-1 trade, and I don't even know why I'm trying to take this seriously anymore. I mean, you got Strix and Golden, Predator missiles, sure. And now we're starting to dip our toes into further operators. Yeah, sure, why not? Put them to rest. Ruthless.
I mean, yeah, honestly, this is mercy. Put them out of their misery, and with every score streak earned, you get one step closer to a quick finish to this one. More operators come out. It has been 3 kills to 15 so far in this matchup. Fahim actually pulling out the M16, and I believe on burst fire mode as well. Definitely not something we're accustomed to seeing. Daytel has earned himself an EMP system. And once again, we'll push all the way through towards spawn. Props to Mont, still playing the objective in the midst of it too. Now up by 15 lives, but they want to make sure to win this the respectable way. Playing the OBJ, Daytel still terrorizing those spawns, and only 4 kills remain for Mont to close out this series. And one of the fastest matches in EU COD mobile history.
Someone's gonna get captured, and those last 2 kills will not be found, but that's okay, because Monts are here to play. Oh my Lanta. I mean, like, it's disgusting. I mean, like you even said, like Lydia was still touching the A zone, just trying to slowly tack it over, and that just furthers the issue for Mont players, just to stat pad a little bit more, but that is just ruthless aggression. Golly, that is just not even fair. And it's like you even said, like, what do you take away from this if you are Squids that you just didn't trade? It goes beyond that. You just didn't find any kills. Mont were just there, just absolutely slaying you. You spawned up, you died again. The streaks were just there at the end of the first round and just were ringing on all the way through the end of the game.
In the words of a wise philosopher, spawn die, spawn die, spawn die. Spawn die. That was the story of this one for Squids. Congratulations on making it this far in the competition, but unfortunately, you will not be advancing to the challenge stage. but I'm definitely excited to see what Mont are going to be able to do up against the rest of the teams that have qualified. We've absolutely got some strong competitors here in EU. They may not have had the toughest competition on their way into the challenge stage, but I have faith that these guys are really going to show up once they're going up against the best of the best.
Whew. I mean, single digit kills on one side, and yeah. What do you honestly want to talk about? Daytel died twice. Like, come on, brother.
12 KD.
Better. That's
12
honest.
KD. That's quite a stat line for Daytel.
Sure.
You know, on the positive side, it's a learning experience for a lot of these teams that are clearly newer to the competitive side of Call of Duty Mobile, and maybe gives them something to aspire to next season. Okay, there are more opportunities abound for next season, however, not for this upcoming season, as there's only one more spot left up for grabs in this upcoming challenge season between RM and Revenge. Which team will take home that last spot? We will find out in just a short moment. We'll take a look back at the bracket for one visual refresher on where things stand. Obviously, our top 4 teams in that upper bracket were finished yesterday, and we've gotten through 3 more 3-0s today to get 3 more teams on the board. Omniscient, Big, and Mont making their way through, getting those challenge spots, and it's all down to the last match of the day. I, at this point, couldn't really call anything. I have no idea how things are going to play out. It might be another 3-0. I don't even know. I'm not even sure if Bobby or Proper know, because this last one, we haven't gotten to see Revenge. We only got to see RM once. They're down in the lower bracket. This could be anybody's game.
It probably will be anybody's game. I legitimately don't know anybody on either of the squads. So once again, an opportunity for somebody to make a name for themselves, to prove. And we saw that. I think there was actually one player on RM that was putting up like pretty respectable stat lines. I think it was actually Sushi, that given the way that RM was getting obliterated yesterday, was putting up a respectable stat line. So maybe an opportunity to at least get recognized and have a chance to get picked up by one of these squads that do make it into the challenge stage.
All right. Well, you guys saw those socials pop up with our Discord down there at the bottom of your screen. Make sure you're following along on all of those platforms to keep yourselves up to date with everything we've got going on here all challenge season long, because we are almost going to be done for today. Before we get into the last match, we're going to send it to one final break so you guys can give yourself a little bit of a reset before we dive into the action. So stick around. The last match are open finals when we return.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them, you're willing to hurt for them, but most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting, it's hot. Look what I got, whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast. I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy, and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes. I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what it's meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited. Like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like, when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete, well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt. Push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test. Like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed. So now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt. Cause I know my worth. And I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me. How'd I turn pain into energy? Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where we are about to close out our entire open finals for Call of Duty Mobile in EU. If you're just joining us, it's been another day of 3-0s. Glitter Explosion Proper and Bobby here to close out the day for match number 4 to close out the open finals. It's going to be potentially the only non-3-0 we've had the entire time, depending on how these teams do. It's between RM and Revenge, teams that we don't know a whole lot about. The only team we've gotten even a chance to see a moment of anything from was RM yesterday before they got knocked down into this lower bracket. We've gotten zero opportunity to see anything from Revenge. So like you were saying before the break, Bobby, this could go either way.
Yeah, no question about it. Sushi had some bright spots yesterday. Turtle didn't look too bad either. So RM, I think, are capable of taking this. It really is going to depend completely on who's on that Revenge squad. I was pleasantly surprised earlier today by who we saw was on Big, and I know there's plenty of talent in the EU competitive scene to where we could see some more very, very experienced players coming through and giving us some additional contenders for who we got remaining. Rest of the squad for RM, tough to break a whole lot down. And heading on over to Revenge, I don't know any of them.
I was trying to do some research on this team, and I found absolutely nothing. Negative, zilch, nada. So I'm also in the same boat with you, Bobby. Like, I think that this is going to either be an eye-opening experience for all of us that are watching at home, also here as far as broadcast is concerned, that somebody might just make a name for themselves. I mean, that's what this is all about, right? I mean, you make your way through all of the open stages. You find yourself here in the qualification match. You do have that VOD if you are Revenge to go back to watch the absolute decimation that was exclusive versus RM yesterday. So you really do feel like that if there's going to be a chance to make a name for yourself, it'd have to be here. But as we've seen on the day so far, I mean, everybody that got knocked down from the upper bracket qualification, now in the lower bracket, have been decisively winning 3-0.
Yeah, no question about it. I think RM definitely have some hope going into this one,
Besides
just
Alb
given the
Eagles.
fact that they had one of the toughest opponents yesterday. You're going up against a Stage 5 team that's been putting in absurd amounts of work, and they look at the bare minimum better than what we saw at the Squids just now, and that was against a much tougher opponent. So I'm hoping that RM bring their best to the table. I guess all eyes are on Sushi once again, as he really showed out in the midst of his entire team getting cooked yesterday. And oh, there we go. Summit Hardpoint, something that we haven't seen at all. No surprise. Firing range S&D. That's pretty much a guaranteed at this point. But I'm glad we finally get something else into the mix for the Hardpoint. It's pretty much been a 2-map show so far.
Proper, anything that you like on here?
I like seeing the Summit, personally. I can't remember the last time that I got to watch a Summit Hardpoint. I mean, I've seen it a handful of times, but it's just nice to be able to see the diversity. And again, firing range map too, I guess Let's go ahead and see what all these two teams end up looking like on it as well. The question still remains, and what I'm most excited for, will we get to a map 4? That's what I want.
That's what we're waiting for.
This is 100% a coin flip for me. I think in every match that we've seen so far, with the exception of Project X versus Alb Eagles, I've had like a decent idea of at least somebody playing in one of the matches, but both these guys are complete wild cards for me. Obviously, we saw RM versus Exclusive yesterday, but not necessarily maybe an accurate test of what they're able to do. So I'm hoping for a close one here and potentially our first and last map 4.
I'm also going to be paying attention to see if once we get into the challenge season, those S&D map choices change up at all. If we end up being stuck on these same ones, we'll have to see what the teams prep between now and the challenge season. But this final match is about to get underway. The last spot in the challenge season on the line. Let's see who takes this one home.
All right. Well, we see, once again, some more weapon variety coming out. It is going to be Revenge on the top side to get things started right here. Flashbangs out, and at least off the start, the approach looks solid. Kahlo's going to be able to find 2 nades connect on the opposite side, but Revenge come out guns blazing right here, as maybe we do have some players that are going to look to make a name for themselves. They get 15 points in the Hardpoint to get things started.
Yeah, I mean, talk about an electric start out of Revenge, right? I mean, just about full flooding inside of P1, thinking about the high ground later. That's going to be Steve, just gets up top, immediately traded. But, I mean, their teammates are just finding infinite more value down low before P2 rotation even needs to be considered. Still a lot of time to fight over here at 1.
We've already got full streaks earned for player number 3. Do you have a pronunciation for player 3 for me?
I simply do not.
Okay, we're just gonna call player 3. 5 kills on the board and not a bad start. RM do fight back here as they manage to take some of the scraps from this P1, and it looks like rotation's starting to head over that way as green spawns are locked in for RM. That's where you would like to be, and you want to maintain that for as long as you possibly can, as obviously the money hill is going to be over on P3. Still spawning far away is going to be Revenge, but Patricino, I'm gonna call him Pat, is able to make his way in toward the hard point. I'm just not going to be able to say that quickly on a consistent basis, so I'm gonna set myself up for success and call him Pat for the rest of the match.
That's fair. I opened up the sheet and just to confirm that Ara is player number 3, so we can all come to terms on how we're supposed to pronounce that. So yeah, good back and forth so far, being able to at least keep P2 and P1 contested. 20 seconds left. Turtle around the barrel's going to be able to at least find himself a few more kills, but these trades are just about everything. We're about to be waltzing in over towards our first money hill here at P3.
And Revenge have that set up over toward green right here. Kahlo's looking to push in, but not going to see the player on the inside switch. Big gunfight right there. Looks like RM going to try to push for that backside spawn break, and they win the bulk of the gunfights. 0 seconds. The hard point has just now popped, and RM have already broken. And this could be where we start to see this match get a little bit out of hand for Revenge. That's not something you can afford to happen that early on. Shots do not connect initially for the R9 right there, but regardless, RM staying in the hard point. Nice double kill for Turtle right there, and now the score streaks and operators start to come through.
It honestly needs to be said about how difficult it is to be able to find that timing and precision for RM to be able to get behind green, break up the spawns, and then immediately flip this P3 back on its head. I mean, Revenge had everything. They had the setup, they had the close spawns, but RM just absolutely demolished it. And now they're going to be at 100 points plus a little bit of extra before we take a look at the rotation over towards P4. Already have players on the rotation, trying to at least set themselves up on a pinch. They break that 50-yard line here, Bobby, and that actually forces Pat to spawn all the way in, essentially 4-3. The spawns have broken up entirely. RM have flipped the map. Numbers might be favorable as far as the map are concerned, but Revenge has so much to do to try to maintain presence on this upcoming hill.
And that's huge for Revenge to be able to take out the Annihilator right there. They get players on the hard point as well. Turtle looking to contest from above, and it's going to be Kahlo finding the frags to be able to push on in. Etudes pushing out spawns, able to find those crucial frags. Kahlo sits back, reload right here. One player left to contest. That's going to be Steve finding the frag, but he's got an R9 on the inside of the hard point to deal with, and that is no easy task. Operators continue to come out. Turtle not going to be able to hold the line, and Revenge will be able to break on in. Definitely some must-have time, as it looks like this match is starting to slip out of control a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, we're over a hardpoint differential in between RM and Revenge again, where Revenge, much like how P3 they were set up initially, they almost had a very similar alert going in towards P4, but RM just continue to surprise me as far as their understanding on where they need to be with a certain amount of time left on the old hardpoint. And they broke up P4 so quickly, flipping the map when they did. Man, they have just about under 100-point difference going in towards the second set here, Bobby. Back to P1 in the blender around PCs. We'll have to see Revenge have an answer for what the outcome was at the end of the first set.
It seemed like RM needed to kind of get their bearings, get in a little bit of rhythm for that first set of rotations. But once they got locked in, they have not held back one bit. Turtle comes up short in that one, but Etudes there looking for the trades. Not going to find it, though. Steve goes big. Nice double kill with him. Bison in hand. Kahlo from above is looking for kills, but can't seem to connect. Able to find one, but can't clear the hard point. And once again, Revenge locking in some time as they look to close this gap. And it has been a really solid P1 for them so far.
And P1 was also good for them in the first set as well. So I can't necessarily say I'm surprised as far as how well they do as far as the mixiness that is in this very open P1, but the rotation over towards P2 needs to be a good one for Revenge. That's where things started to spiral marginally out of control, and RM really took a firm grasp as far as the first set is concerned. Last few seconds are going to be soaked up here for Revenge, up at 83 points now, just slowly chipping away at that lead as P2 is about to pop, but you can see it right here from the overhead camera. Currently, Revenge are set up inside the hard point, but the initial gunfights are not going their way.
Yep, you still got to deal with that R9 in the bottom side of the connector right there. Nobody's been able to do it, and a whiff on the Predator missile for Steve. That is something you've got to find more value. And honestly, feel like P2 is probably not the spot to do it, especially if you're dropping it on the objective. Wishing he could have that one back. A lot of blue in the feed once again as Turtle looks to get pushed out. Annihilator on the top side. Flash is not going to stop him there. Kahlo's able to find one, looking to make it two. R9 continues to push out, and RM continue to pick up the hard point time. It looks like Revenge going to invest some of their operators to try to push out for green control, but it's RM still locking down the backside, and big gunfights ahead for Kahlo as he looks to maintain these spawns. He's in a tough spot right now, and he gets taken down. This is the opportunity that Revenge have been looking for.
And they need to really grasp this setup. The biggest issue is you still have players in and around the ski lift area for P3, and this is actually going to be setting up a little bit of a spawn trap. You got to be careful here if you are Revenge. Trades seem to be on point, and where Kahlo is currently located at, he's not going to fully break up the spawns. You do have Brinks that does spawn all the way out, or Steve, excuse me. It's still not going to be enough, you feel, because you can just play in and around this objective if you're RM. Steve has to pull out the Purifier, gets inside of the ski lift hardpoint, breaks up the Manani. You still have 35 seconds left to play, and Revenge would do well to soak up all of it.
Yeah, obviously they would have liked to find that break a little bit sooner, especially having spawn control, but you force out a lot of operators for RM to find any time right there, and R is going to find a solid feed as he breaks on in, able to find some hard point time right here, but the gunny for RM is just on point. Spawns are kind of split right now as both teams are spawning in the backside. Turtle's able to come out on top, and now every kill here is going to be devastating for the opposition as Turtle's going to leave them spawning all the way across the map as they're desperately scrambling, trying to make their way over to P4. Oh my. Ooh.
You need this. Really do. Revenge don't have all the tools in the world to do it. But the problem is that RM currently inside the objective, they have more than enough tools to do it. You got Rush up top, R90 shotgun, Baden switching alongside Turtle, getting closer towards that 250 point mark.
Kahlo sitting on 37 has had himself a heck of a map. Turtle building up some more streaks as well, and looking like it might be an inevitable result here for map 1, as there's so much utility for RM to keep Revenge out of this hard point. Couple more operators left to go if they need them, but Brinks is completely pushing out the opposition. Pred Missile connects right there, and Steve, 1 HP, able to push up for 1, but can't make it 2. It's all on to Brinks. Equalizer in hand, not gonna connect right there. And RM, slow start, but take a decisive map 1.
Honestly speaking, I thought that was going to be a lot closer as far as the scoreline is concerned. The way we saw just P1 being a big old jostle for positioning back and forth, but it was such an eye-opening experience. But you even saw the rotation from P1, which is not too far away, to P2. And RM were just well ahead of the game as far as Revenge are concerned, always trying to play off their back foot, trying to answer to the response off the initial setup. And they started to at least answer that inside of P3 around the ski lift. But I mean, they got broken up just so damn quickly that it always felt like they were playing a responsive game of Hardpoint, not a necessarily fundamentally strong Hardpoint on where they could be setting up for their crossfires, finding the kills required, breaking up the spawns. And that is the step ahead gameplay that we got out from RM, if you will, Bobby, where they were always trying to rotate around that 15 to 20 second mark, get those spawns ahead of new if they didn't have the initial setup. And when they were entrenched in one of these hills, when you feel like they were probably guaranteed at least 35 seconds.
And with Sushi not in the starting lineup, I feel like Kahlo really stepped up right there. Phenomenal anchor AR play, and I think especially his presence on P3, making sure the spawns don't flip. He was pretty much untouchable once he got into that position. The SMGs roaming were so difficult to trade as well, and like we said, even though they got smacked around yesterday, there are definitely bright spots for this RM squad, and this is a team that I think has a lot of potential, and I think with maybe an addition or a little bit more practice, could be a team that can go up against some of those other challenger teams that we're seeing in the challenge season. Obviously, Revenge looking to bounce back. Not a terrible map for them. Very strong start. Hopefully, we see more bright spots for them in the S&D.
You got to talk about the 40 and 14 elephant in the room. I mean, Kahlo just absolutely had a whale of a game. 38 and 23 as well for Turtle. Just, it was the constant setups around R90 shotguns from Rush. And then you also just had the inevitable bait and switch coming through from SMGs, ARs alike. Just really pristine gameplay. As you were saying, even yesterday, yes, they only put up 78 points versus Kings when they ended up, or Exclusive, excuse me, when they ended up losing out on that map. But I think, or 52, excuse me. I think it's just one of those things that you get to see the answers, that RM absolutely have the ability to play fundamental Hardpoint. It just was not delivering against a top tier opponent of Exclusive. But going up against, I wouldn't necessarily say a bottom barrel team, because let's be candid, Revenge were looking pretty damn good across that map at a lot of different points in time. I think they're going to have their work cut out for them ahead of the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, and it seems like this is kind of the equalizer for all of these teams, the one map that they all feel very comfortable playing and are willing to challenge just about anybody in EU on. So we've seen a lot of different approaches to the firing range play style. Obviously, a lot of it has been aggressive, especially for the offensive teams, but we've even seen some psycho defensive pushes. It really has been control of the mid-map that's dictated the pace of the majority of these games, especially when it comes to those A pushes. So we'll see which team is able to capitalize on that most. As once again, we've gotten a lot of different looks at it, especially given the number of times we've seen it this weekend.
And speaking of how many times we've seen it this weekend, this is the same map 2. I know everybody acts surprised we're getting a map 2 firing range Search and Destroy here in EU, that they lost 7-0 versus Exclusive yesterday. So it's tough to really gauge on how much you could possibly take away from that loss versus Exclusive, but RM really do have a chance to do something really good here, and that is just to have as dominant of a performance as possible. The same could be said for Revenge on the other side. As we always talk about here in COD Mobile, Search and Destroy needs to be that integral game mode for these up-and-coming individuals to really showcase their talents and abilities. You have to read, adapt, and then overcome to make sure that you are understanding what a lot of these teams are doing. The one thing that has been utterly frustrating, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Bobby, for a lot of these teams, you just can't leave the middle of the map open, because a lot of these players with SMGs in hand are probably just going to run you down, and even smoke grenades probably won't stop them. So a lot of questions need to be answered here. Can things be evened up one apiece, or are RM going to take a 2-0 lead in the series?
All right. See what they can do right here, as it is going to be RM on the defense to get things started. And as expected, lots of looks across the mid-map. Sniper not going to connect for the kill. Pat's going to be forced back right here, trying to find an angle on to that trailer building. And definitely a much more passive approach than we've seen in the majority of these S&Ds so far, as this is probably a little bit closer to what you would expect from the North American region, where you're a little more calculated in your S&Ds, especially on firing range. So we'll see what the approach is going to look like. Steve not looking to get aggressive right here. It looks like a lot of the utility has been used up, and I think they're just going to sit around and wait for the sniper picks to come through. They've already been able to find one. Switch trying to find a second, but they take a little bit too long, and Etude's able to make them pay.
Things up 4v4. Bomb in Maba's hands, now over to Steve, is going to start maneuvering its way over towards A. The biggest issue here, Bobby, they have no information what's going in and around it.
Ooh.
Hello.
That's a corner you got to check. Steve's going to be able to get the plant here. They give away information, checks the corner. No Switch is probably watching that and making a two-piece right there. Finally traded out, but RM cleaned that up quickly. Phenomenal trigger discipline to allow the teammates to make the rotation, so even if he loses the gunfight, they are there. And it looked like Revenge were going to have a strong opening start, but a beautiful response from RM.
If you're going to feel out the round like that, you have to find continuous information with bait and switches around these pressure points, right? RM immediately inside a 10. Ara thought that they were going to be able to get inside there scot-free, but just completely gets overwhelmed. It's answered back ever so slightly, but still numbers advantage favoring that of the defense.
Switch looking for that player that made their way into Wood. Maybe doesn't even know, but Pat's going to be able to connect to outside American. Big gunfight on the inside of Wood, but it's Kahlo coming out on top. Pat looking to clear out right here. Hits the quick scope onto Brinks. Keeps the round alive. 1v2 would be a 1v3 in total. Not able to connect right there. Movement is clean, but the bomb has yet to be retrieved. And right now, 1 minute and 10 seconds still to work with, but he needs to find this pick. He makes it happen right there. An opportunity for the 1v3, but it's not meant to be.
I was about to say, I mean, miss once, twice, but the third time bullet is the charm, I suppose, to be able to find the initial, but time not necessarily being on your side, the space being provided, not all there, at least for Pat there at the very end. Some nice movement as you were talking about, but the kills early on are really what is plaguing Revenge so far in these opening few rounds on offense. A lot of looks through the middle of the map, trying to get themselves closer towards the A-bomb. Rush is here with an R90 inside of 10.
Ooh, and a beauty of a nade for Brinks. Drops Pat to get things started. Another for Rush on the inside of trailer. Does get traded out right there. So they are going to earn themselves a bomb plant, and pre-fire around the corner connects for Steve, looking to make it 3 right here. Looks like RM going to get aggressive through the mid-map, and Kahlo pushing all the way through. Elcar in hand, not really ideal for this situation. Brinks is able to do the majority of the damage, but can't finish off the kill in 20 seconds remaining. Switch holding down that backside position is crucial. Etude's there for the trade, but the clock continues to wind down. Brinks makes the read, and now he's got to have his teammates watch that long angle if he's going to be able to stick the defuse right here. They're spraying off, but Steve can't connect, and the defuse goes through.
I mean, that is the only and correct call that you have to make there in a 2v1. You cleared the bomb site, you hop it, I'll watch over top of you. And albeit Etudes does go down, enough pressure was there that the last player for Revenge had to take that first shot. Otherwise, he was going to die versus the sniper rifle. Didn't exactly have an immediate angle on the bomb being defused. So what was going to be the best look for Revenge on offense thus far still results in RM having a 3-0 lead.
Beautiful execution out of RM right there, especially with the amount of time left on the clock. And like you said, that's the only play that you can make. And fortunately for them, it was only a Bison in hand, so he didn't really have an opportunity. Rush getting pushed up right there. Pat going to be able to make him pay, but Kahlo picks up 1 in the same breath. And just like that, RM have found themselves a man advantage once again. Switch looking for an angle, can't find the player hopping top 10. And Brinks makes his way into American, as right now, ball in the hands of RM once again. Revenge just looking for an angle to work.
Yeah, and they're completely content with just playing retake over towards A. There's nobody inside a trailer this time. I mean, Steve has the bomb. He's going to go over inside of A, but they still don't have any clearance inside of trailer. For all they know, there could still be a player in here. That said, Steve is going to plant the bomb, and that's a communication RM need. They are going to try to retake this 4v3 with one on the pinch.
Early shots going through. That's one that you got to connect on. Brinks, fortunately, team's there for the trade. Turtle looking to make it 2, and he does indeed. All down to Switch. He's way back at Wood. Has a lot of distance to cover to be able to catch a planter, and it doesn't look like he's going to connect right there. Taking shots at the wrong player and going for the one covering the plant instead. Another round falls apart for Revenge, as time and time again they've been able to get the plant down on A, but have not been able to hold off the retake.
And the bomb wasn't even planted for him. I mean, Steve had to plant on that side of the bomb itself just because, again, there was no clearance inside of trailer at all. But in that clutch spot, just was not able to connect onto the sniper shot in the 1v2. 4-0 goes the lead. Revenge looking to flip the switch a little bit. They're going to want to head over towards B, and they will surely find out that that's not necessarily going to be the right call. Now stuck in a 2v3, and you also have players to worry about in and around Wood that are ready to watch this rotation out.
The Tudes looking for that one player outside Wood, and he finds him with ease. Steve now in a 1v3, 6 kills on the board, doing everything he can to keep his squad in this one, but Sniper should have an angle to spot him out right there, and he's going to get spotted by Brinks, actually SMG in hand, but it doesn't make much of a difference as RM continue to run through this map. 5-0. It's just been a lack of adjustments for Revenge, as they haven't had a very decisive push anywhere outside of A, and when that's happened, they've not been able to capitalize it. So we finally see them take a look over toward B. Only 2 here to defend, but you got to find these opening frags. The nade connects. Can they make something out of it? They're able to find 2 to the 1 of RM, and finally an opportunity as they're able to sniff out another and should be able to get the plant down here.
Numbers advantage. Kahlo has a sniper, at least looking past the tire lane. Brinks is starting to flank through jungle. Is already halfway through banana. So if you are the last 2 players of RM, you have to coordinate this pinch, but you would love for a pick to come through first.
Kahlo looking for the player that's pushed up. Not a ton to work with. They're able to take down 1. 30 seconds right here, and I think making a little bit of noise, so Revenge should have heard it. Quickscope doesn't connect. Neither player looking for the kill, but the longer this goes, the more it benefits Revenge. He's able to wrap all the way to top 10. Now he's got to get aggressive toward the bomb. Brink's going to be able to take down Aura, but only 10 seconds, and nice spots for these Revenge players to hide away. It should be very easy for them to clutch up right here. Pat's going to peek the angle. He's taking them down, and regardless of this gunfight, Revenge will finally find their first round in this one.
Yep. Bomb's going to detonate there. Again, just a war of attrition playing down the clock. I got to say, I don't necessarily love that call from Brinks. I mean, he was already past Wood. Hell, he was already halfway through banana. Like, just try to coordinate the pinch, let alone Kahlo trying to find himself a quick scope up close instead of pulling out the secondary. Kind of fumbled the bag as far as that round is concerned. That said, you still have a 4-round cushion. Now, sides will swap. RM up on the offense, continuing to be a little bit patient. It is trailer control at the moment for Revenge.
Brinks checking if there's anybody on the outside of that Wood building. They got lots of real estate to work with, so it's just a question of what play do they want to make, and had Kahlo found that snipe, would have likely triggered an immediate A push, but can't quite connect right there. Brinks looking for information left and right, but it's Switch finding the first blood for this Revenge squad, and RM not looking quite as convincing here on the offensive side, as they really don't want to commit to a position. And right now we see them push in toward A, but you don't check the most basic corner on the approach. R is going to be able to find 2, and that's going to make the rest of this round infinitely more difficult for RM.
Yeah, you feel like it's pretty chalked at this moment in time. RM, well, 2v5 action, can't count them out, but yeah, it's not necessarily going to be easy. They still have a lot of clock to play with. They do have that going for themselves, but the way that all the players from Revenge are stacked around each other, also sending at least Steve on the rotation over towards the B bomb site to reinforce things with Switch, knowing that it might just come down here. He might be right, but Brace with the sniper finds 2, brings it to a 2v3.
And he's looking for more kills on the back side, but they've got to pick a site that they're going to go with. It looks like they're going to commit over here on A. Nothing but a nade to work with, and Aura is tucked into a nasty spot, but he reads it right there. That's a crucial kill. Nobody waiting on the backside of A, and they should be able to get the plant down here. The 2v5 suddenly looking possible, and Rush hears the sniper shot whiz past, so he reads it, but Pat's able to win the gunny. The bomb has gone down. Brinks on the inside of trailer, waiting for some type of key to go, and he shows no trigger discipline right there. Pat's not going to turn and recognize, but he finds the frag anyway, and Revenge take back-to-back rounds.
There's a lot of spaghetti on the floor in that round, let me tell you. That is... Golly. I mean,
man.
From the potential 2v5 down to a 2v2, I saw the separation of what was going to potentially be 2 1v1s, but I mean, the moment that you just don't showcase any bit of trigger discipline, that round was all for naught, albeit Pat did take their sweet old time on turning around, did find the quick scope to at least put the round to rest. That is a potential momentum shift. That said, RM still in the driver's seat here. They get on A side very quickly. There's one player for Revenge inside the tin. It's Aura, and with the switchblade in hand, can't get the job done as Turtle, but the switch is good. 4v4 bomb planted.
And this is more of the RM that we saw on the defensive side. Suddenly a little bit more in control. Meba finally able to find that first kill for the map, but it's not going to be enough for the round, as RM now 1 round away from closing out the map and taking a 2-0 lead. You got to give credit to Aura for really stepping up in the second half of this one, because was sitting on a goose egg for a hot minute. But right now, everybody's got to be all hands on deck for this Revenge squad. None of the nades connect. It's an aggressive mid push once again, and Turtle's going to be able to take down Aura to take complete control of trailer. He said, "Frickin', I'll push all the way through." Does get traded out by Steve, but that should be the bomb plant secured.
You got Steve inside of America just trying to hold the line, but that's not going to deny the bomb from being planted. What Revenge are going to look for is for Switch to be able to flank all the way through. The difference is Kyle is watching it. They're inside a trailer, but the timing isn't favorable.
Kalo looking for something, not going to find it. It's Rush getting the frag instead. They hop the bomb. I don't know if Kalo's going to peek this in time. Can't connect over top of the bomb heady, and that should be a locked in round for Revenge right there. Keeping their hopes alive here in the search and destroy. Definitely, I mean, obviously a must-have round, because if you lose it, the map is over, but whew, keeping things close right there, and especially given the situation that they had, could have gone wrong. Great execution toward the end of that one.
A little bit of a pace differential in the previous 2 rounds, but not over towards A. They are fast hitting over towards B. RM, Meba down on the floor. It just switches up for Switch himself to find 3-4, if you will. Last player alive is A2. He's got a sniper in the 1v2. A lot of time left on the clock here in this 1v3.
And that was phenomenal patience, just waiting on the inside of Cubby. No scope doesn't connect, but the quick scope does. He might be able to make it a 1v3, gets away in time to be able to regen, and now pressure onto Pat, trying to clutch up right here. Lurking toward the backside of B, should have the advantage, knowing where Atudes is going to be coming from, but timing does not go his way, and maybe the worst possible time to plant, unfortunately for him. Had no idea. And Pat said, "I want the points for the defuse, and I would like the points for the kill as well."
Moment that he missed that initial shot,
yeah, I was about to be like,
yeah, you too, right? I was like, oh no, here comes a slide cancel and an immediate turn, but quick scope would have been nasty right there. I mean, shoot, we almost just had a complete turn of events 1v3. I mean, Switch finds 4. That is absurd. Now up to 11 kills, but Revenge stay alive. OT might just very much so be on the horizon. The aggressive push over towards B did not work out. They're slow rolling, leaving 2 players inside of Wood, but Rush gets sniped for first blood, and Pat finds the second to boot.
And the snipers are starting to set up, or starting to heat up for Revenge. Playing a big role, Steve, Pat, Locust in hand. Those are 2 crucial first bloods. Two's not going to be able to connect there onto Cubby either, and just like that, it's going to be just question marks for this RM squad trying to find an angle. Oh, crazy off angle from Ava right there. Nearly gets quick scope, but it's only a hit marker. And now Turtle, Brinks, sitting and waiting, hoping for an overextension from this Revenge squad. Obviously, Switch loving that unorthodox angle and makes it really tough to predict, but saw the barrel of the gun, and that enables him to... He didn't see the barrel of the gun!
Yep.
Oh my gosh! I thought for sure it was around the corner, but now Brinks is going to be forced into a 1v5.
Ultra kick. No, I'm just kidding. But that is a crucial round. Again, I mean, RM have found absolutely negative value pushing over towards B, and they are quickly on the case to get back through the middle of the map, try to stop Brinks from getting any sort of nuttiness, and doesn't even read Meba on the floor right there through the middle doorway. One round at a time for Revenge, just now one round away from getting themselves inside of OT. And where RM have found the most value so far is the aggressive push over towards A and just clearing away Tin very quickly. That seems what the call is going to be once again, but they're going to be playing their timings off the nades before they start rushing through.
They're going to make their way on through. Wide open A site, one player inside American, one Tin. Ara looks for the read right here, but that's a lot of damage, and Turtle pushes through mid at the perfect time. Bomb goes down early, and this is the exact setup that RM are looking for. Kahlo, Turtle, find a couple more. Steve and Pat left to try to clutch. No first blood for them this time around, and it's all down to Steve. He's not going to be able to make the 1v5 happen as RM take the 2-0 lead in the series.
What an interesting search and destroy we just had right there, Bobby. I honestly thought that was going to go maybe Revenge's way, and we were going to guarantee that map 4. I know we were all expecting it. I'm on the edge of my seat seeing if we have even the ability to reach a map number 4. But, I mean, there was a lot of opportunity there for Revenge. You know, the difference maker was being able to shut down the aggressive pushes over towards B. Their retakes over towards A when RM was finding continuous pressure over towards A was ecstatic. That said, the offensive half for Revenge only able to get themselves one round mostly came through from fumbling timings. I mean, if you're going to try to show presence past Banana and try to get yourself inside of B and leave players lurking inside of Wood, and you have no information over towards A, you have to clear corners. And I double emphasize even clearing Tin, that if you leave trailer wide open like that, the chances of an SMG player being in that exact position to shut down the A push, let alone in one of these corners that you somehow did not check, will lead to a 5-1 differential. That said, RM, albeit losing a select few rounds in a row, once they got to offense, they showed the B push a handful of times. Switch got a 4-piece, and it almost got clutched back up, at least by one player there of Etudes, but it just simply was not meant to be. They immediately flipped the switch again. Fast hit over towards A, and they put the S&D to rest and have a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, it definitely was a very defensive-sided map, and unfortunately, Revenge just put themselves in too difficult of a position, getting to the half already being down by 4 rounds. So I think if you see that another time around, maybe they get defense in the first half, things could go a different way, but unfortunately, they will not get the opportunity to show that in this series as we now head into map number 3, the Control. An absolute must-win for Revenge. They've shown a lot of promise in this series so far, and has probably been our most competitive series of the entirety of our Masters qualifiers. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the table, but once again, have not seen a Control map out of them yet, so not quite sure what to expect.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing that we can take away is that, like, their executions coming from the Summit Hardpoint and as well as the firing range search and destroy, that's kind of like the conglomerate that you get into Control. So if there's anything that we can possibly take away, again, because we have little to no to almost negative information besides the series that's on our hands for Revenge, is that they need to be well more decisive on rotating to these power positions on raid control. You cannot afford to throw lives away into a losing battle. If one zone is chalked, forget about it. Get yourself in a better position for raid, cut mid-map, whether you're offense or defense alike, and set yourself up in a better position. You just cannot allow for this RM squad to get set up all comfy cozy in and around a lot of these zones for raid control. We saw it happen on the Summit map number 1, that when they have the setup around those hard points, they were undeniable. They were almost turning about 35 to 40 seconds. The difference for that in Control is you're going to lose a rack load of lives, and you're also going to be losing a lot of progress on one of these zones. So Revenge need to keep the slate clean. They need to come into this Control and play absolutely lights out if they have any hopes, let alone forcing a map 4 or starting a reverse sweep.
Yep, it is going to be RM on the defense to get things started. That's where you'd like to be come the Control in COD Mobile. We'll see what they're bringing to the table right here as Etude's going to look for some mid-map control, mainly just trying to keep as many people out of kitchen as possible, but it's aggressive over toward that B side, and it pays off big time for Revenge to get things started. But Brinks is there, finds the trades, not going to be able to get away with his life, though. Kahlo going to keep Top Laundry locked down for the time being, and he will be the gatekeeper for any Revenge players looking to hop on B. Looks like Rush looking to make his way on through red, but he gets shut down, and well played by Revenge to get a bunch of opening time here on B.
You do have the stack coming in, so that third segment of progression is quickly on its way, and that's what I was looking at. Player number 4 in blue, that's A2. He immediately started pushing through bedroom, and I thought that maybe he was going to toy with the idea, maybe trying to pinch through Art. He's doing it right now, but he immediately gets caught inside a Zig. Ara has no idea where he just went to, and checks the corner, is able to at least get the kill. So at least that's the backline dealt with. If you are Revenge, you added 60 seconds, added on towards the board, and you have a 4-life lead to try to assault A.
Ara's going to be able to find 2 more right there, so the life lead goes the way of Revenge. Solid progress over on to A, and RM just has 0 map control right now. They don't have basketball. They don't have kitchen. They don't have money room. They don't have anybody even attempting to make their way through mid steps. I'm not really sure what the game plan is. Kahlo finally makes his way down toward basketball, but he's not able to find any kills right there. He's forced back. They have no presence elsewhere, and this should be a guaranteed capture on this objective unless we see a full wipe for Brinks and Rush right here. They're going to be able to find a couple, but they get wiped off the board. Brinks left the only one remaining, and that smoke is the only thing protecting him from the rest of the Revenge players.
Last player alive down low you saw right there was Brinks. Third segment of progression being worked on. Rush has to jump down from the money window and put himself in a very unopportunistic position. It does set up at least one player to hit the flank. That's Turtle with the switchblade in hand. The last player alive over here is going to be Switch, is dealt with, but now RM have no respawns remaining.
Yeah, such a rough spot to be. You're forced to get on the objective at any cost possible, but there's no lives to work with. 3v7, and Turtle's got to go huge right here. Once again, lack of trigger discipline going to cost RM. Etude's waiting for somebody to hop through. Beautiful pre-fire, and suddenly the 7v3 is a 4v3 as Revenge are not able to find any of the kills. Etudes finds another, and just like that, there's only 2 lives remaining for Revenge. They're not able to capitalize. Ara's got an operator if he wants to opt to use it, and given how tight this is, it may be worth it. But now Pat is the only one left remaining, and the round has completely fallen apart for Revenge.
And Ara called in at least one streak to try to utilize, saves the operator, but I mean, it's just a really tough decision there at the end. I mean, Revenge felt like that they were always in the driver's seat. They had numbers advantage. They had so much clock left. And RM in those final few moments around money window and around Tiki just absolutely keep that zone alive. 5 segments of progression to the good for Revenge. Now it's RM's turn for offense.
Man, that would have been a nice one to have if you're Revenge. Now hopping on over to the defensive side themselves. What can they do? Couple opening frags go the way of RM, but bulk of the trades go for Revenge, and that's what happened for them early on. Like you said, they had life control for the entirety of the round, but you get into a 3v7, you throw away lives left and right, and that's just something that you cannot allow to happen. Right now, players on both A and B for RM. It looks like 1 tick of progress already through, but the contest is there, and now Brink's going to be left to sit back and try to find those remaining Revenge players on the site. Operators starting to come out. Ara, Pat, both ready to go, but not a whole lot in the feed.
Oh, not a whole lot, but at least Pat with that operator in hand, Annihilator, was able to at least deal with the one player that was working over towards the B zone. That means that all of RM are going to be spotting parallel over towards A. One player does get a rogue spawn. That's going to be Rush, who's inside of Art. Needs to quickly cut through the middle of the map and try to reinforce his push. That is actually going quite well for RM. You already have players pushing in towards basketball court. Turtle inside a kitchen. Nobody's on the zone currently, but more kills are still being racked up for RM.
And for RM, you do have to be mindful of the clock. 37 seconds remaining. They get hot back onto A. And Etude should be able to keep basketball clear for the time being. That means they're going to be forced through money in mid. Switch going to be able to shut down 2 right there, but can't deal with Etudes. And they will continue to stop the clock here, but trade it out once again. Lives do go the way of RM, but they need to get one of these objectives captured. Lots of room to work with over toward A, but nobody seems to want to hop it.
No, not quite yet. I mean, they want to have this emphatic life lead, but it just continues. It gives Revenge so many different opportunities to try to set themselves up for a retake and trades to boot. Hollow with that 2-piece. Should be the A zone fully converted, you would feel. Last player alive that was over here was Steve, and he's going to be dealt with. We're down to 15 seconds. You would really want that extra 60 seconds. Plus this 4-life lead should surely be an offensive round win for RM.
And big gunny win inside of Kitchen as well for Kahlo. Drops Bara, and now a 5-life lead. You get that extra minute and should have enough to work with it. You don't need to use any operators either. Etudes reads 1. I thought there was a player right next to him, but it's actually outside the building. Revenge get a couple in the feed right here. This round is far from over, as we saw RM in a similar situation last time around, but now no respawns, only 3 to go against the 10 of RM, and a couple of the operators come out. Not a whole lot of value to be found, unfortunately. Bara finds 2 right there, but so many shots, so little value, and it's going to take a miracle for these remaining 2 players, but Steve finds the opening to at least get things started.
They just don't have any utility to really pull to try to clutch this. I mean, Bara tried with the War Machine. Steve was last alive inside a laundry, gets absolutely beamed, and that's going to be the offensive round win. And now up on series point will be RM with a 2-0 lead here in the map number 3 raid control. Really good utilization there, even at the end with such a massive life lead. I don't mind that Predator missile being called in just to be able to confirm the kill and keep them trapped inside a laundry, just to confirm that you are going to win this round. Now Revenge, quite literally, need to have themselves a whale of a round. We're so close to confirming their opening offense. Can they do it here and keep themselves alive in the control, let alone the series?
Their starts have looked really good in the first couple of rounds, but just have not been able to capitalize. Unfortunately, that's not been the case here to get things started. Only 2 kills on the board, but the nade to drop the Annihilator is absolutely crucial. Brink still left to be dealt with. He's working for streaks right here. Equalizer if he wants it. And there's a Sparrow that goes to waste. Should be able to get the majority of that charge back, but that'll send him back to spawn and put Revenge at least in a position to finally hop on the objective. A couple big gunfight wins go their way, and now some real estate for them to start locking in one of these ticks over on B.
They're starting to stack it too, so that way they can make it come through very, very quickly. But Etudes, again, much like we saw in the opening round, the moment that B zone starts to get chalked, he starts to rotate all the way over through garage. He's inside of arc currently, or through driveway, excuse me, but tries to check every single corner, but it sets up Brinks to slide through laundry, finds a 2-piece. Kahlo also there to find the next one. Last player alive was Pat. Turtle gives him a swift demise. Just where the B zone you thought was going to be chalked over, it's RM that save it. 2 segments were captured, but it's a 5-life lead for RM on defense.
And Turtle has still not been traded right there, so he's going to continue to keep those Revenge players pushed back. It was 17 to 18 just a second ago, but it goes full blue in the feed for RM, and now they continue to force back these Revenge players who are obviously starting to panic a little bit. 9v17, no ticks of progress, not a whole lot of time to work with, only 18 seconds right here. Revenge have got to find some of these kills to open up B and get that extra minute to work with. Right now, they have to be so careful with every life remaining.
Yeah, every life does quite literally matter. They at least find themselves a handful of kills. They bring it just within about double the amount that RM do have over top of their heads. They had 60 seconds on towards the board, but you really have to be methodical, surgical, if you will, on how you try to cut through the middle of the map. Turtle's just lurking outside a Zig over by Rocks, just already cuts down 1. It has gone from worse to disastrous as Revenge have no more respawns.
Switch and Pat both lose out on their operators right there. Aura can't seem to... No! Aura takes himself out with the Sparrow, and every single operator has gone to waste for Revenge. Devastation as round after round, they're able to keep things close, but just can't seem to close it out. Switch from Money Room, able to find 1 right there, but seeming like only a matter of time. 2v10, no utility to work with, and the turn from Turtle to close out the map and the series. A 3-0 to finish out the weekend. 3-0s across the board as RM will be moving on to the challenge season.
No map 4? What? You kidding me? I mean, Revenge's best look to honestly keep themselves alive in that control was in that first round. And when we start kind of channeling through these replays, it'll be really showcasing of just that life lead. They had a time advantage of about a minute. But then all these different challenges, Bobby, just were completely fallen by the wayside. They allowed RM to get a full setup around that A zone.
And absolutely ridiculous life plays by this RM squad once they were on the inside of A. Just get a kill, smoke. Play your life as long as you can. Wait for your teammates to reinforce. Get a crossfire, find another kill. They were untouchable on the inside of Tiki. That was about as beautiful as of a clutch as you will see in Control. Obviously, props to Revenge. They gave it their best shot, but, you know, I think we probably underestimated RM because of the difficulty of the opponent that they went up against yesterday. And I think especially if you get Sushi back in that starting lineup, this is absolutely a team that's got a lot of potential to make some noise in COD Mobile Masters.
From what I understand, that is actually the starting five. I believe that Sushi is what I was getting told in my DMs here, is that Sushi is actually the substitute. So maybe that's the difference. Honestly, the teamwork chemistry looked pretty good for RM here.
All right.
Okay, all right, you somehow are acquiring insider information while the tournament's happening. That is impressive, Proper. All right, but now all of our teams have been solidified as far as who will be playing in our challenge season. The last match of the day going the way of RM, who will be joining Mont, Big, Omniscient, Nexus, Project X, Kings, and Exclusive. Lots of returning faces and also some new teams here, Bobby. So talk to me a little bit about your expectations for this upcoming challenge season.
I was pleasantly surprised. I knew a lot of teams had broken up following EU Stage 4 and everything that happened there. But seeing the pickups that the top teams made and some of these newer rosters that have been formed, I think there's a lot of talent here, absolutely no question. For the newer teams, I think still some polishing to be done. I think even looking at Omniscient, they didn't look as dominant as I expected for them to be on some of the maps. So I'm curious to see what they can do, how they can perform it as they start to evolve a little bit more in that chemistry builds.
And Proper, first time here on the show with us. Now looking forward to challenge season. First of all, tell me your feelings after this weekend and then what you expect out of the challenge season.
I got a lot of feelings, but nothing I can cover in 30 seconds time for at least this segment. But I mean, I gotta say this much is certain. I mean, when you get knocked down from the upper bracket down to the lower bracket, you really do feel like that your chance to be able to at least still qualify in that chance was there. We went 50-50 on the day. Some teams were able to bounce back quite emphatically from what we saw yesterday. Obviously, there is some asterisks behind some teams that were forced to be put together, if you will, that did play upset to a lot more teams to qualify. Shout out you, Omniscient. But nonetheless, I mean, the competition looks to be quite fierce. I mean, there is always going to be that kind of cut above the rest, if you will, from the teams that did qualify in the top side of the bracket compared to the teams that just qualified in the lower bracket. But we do have some time. I'm excited to be able to see what this final tournament is going to look like.
All right, well, chat, that's all we've got for EU. If you want to keep up with our entire challenge season, though, obviously, one more time, make sure you're following us on all of our social media. We've got X, Insta, and Facebook for all of those updates for everything that's going on, as well as joining our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series. Join the community, hang out with us, get yourselves updated, make some friends, talk about Call of Duty Mobile. I mean, do whatever you want to do, but make sure you get in there, especially before we now dive into our challenge season for you, because that's going to be really, really exciting. And you've got a little bit of time before that happens. But that's it for our open finals for EU. I mean, really, really fun weekend. I think it's going to prove to be a very interesting challenge season. Like we said, with all of these new names stepping up to the plate, we'll see what they're able to do now in the downtime. But our 8 teams have their tickets punched for the next stage of the competition, and I'm excited to see what they can do. As always, a huge thank you to Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy, and Monster Energy for making this whole thing possible. And chat, thank you for hanging out with us and watching the show. Now, EU might be done, but we'll be back here tomorrow, this time for NA. So if you want to see what a different region is doing, Call of Duty Mobile, make sure you stop by and check it out. We'll see you then. Have a good one.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me
in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time